I'm Sith King.
And I'm Sonic Sons.
We're the Rambling Reviewers.
And today we're looking at Black Panther, the Marvel movie.
Yep,
obviously.
Latest entry in the MCU. Okay, now I'm going to preface something right out of the gate here. We're two white guys from the Midwest. I'm not doing that as an excuse. It's just that in the last 10 generations, the southernmost country that my ancestors came from is Germany. I'm just saying we're gonna mispronounce these names. We're gonna miss some of the feelings of black experience.
There's themes of the movie that comment on that, and we're gonna comment on it because we're commenting on the movie. But we're aware of our ignorance.
We aren't black.
And,
We don't know this stuff. Our ancestors didn't go through the same things that African Americans or regular Africans did.
Yeah, that's another complex thing. We have to use the word black here.
We don't know this stuff.
All right.
So all we can do is comment on how this works as a piece of fiction from what we can experience with our own limited experiences.
All right, cool.
Now, all that out of the way, I really liked it.
I liked it too. I thought it was a lot better than Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, but the Thor movies have never really impressed me.
That's true.
I mean, the first Thor wasn't too bad.
It was just like a small shrug, and then the second Thor I dubbed the big shrug, and then our third one was like, you're kind of derailing characters to make the comedy work. And it's just, come on, guys.
Yeah.
So this was much more interesting. The villain in particular stands out among Marvel villains.
The villain of this one easily is one of the strongest villains in the entire MCU. Worthy to stand alongside Loki in that prestigious pantheon.
Yeah, no, he's much more interesting as a character than Loki is. As far as other interesting Marvel villains, they're all so forgettable that it's hard to put anyone together.
Yeah, the problem with Marvel villains is they tend to show up for one film and then die.
Mm-hmm. Or even if they don't develop a whole lot.
Which,
they're like, oh, they had an interesting point, or they had this, or they had that.
Well, yeah, they're introduced in the same film that they die in.
I liked. Well, mostly because of this whole weird scheme with pretending to be somebody else. I liked the Mandarin in Iron Man 3. Even though it completely derailed the original Mandarin from the comics that I never read.
There's been a web special since then that proved that this wasn't the actual.
Of course.
It wasn't the actual Mandarin.
Yeah.
It's just that the bad guy from that film was impersonating the real Mandarin. And the real man, remember that actor guy who went to prison because everyone thought he was the Mandarin?
Oh, the
real Mandarin had that guy killed.
Right. I have heard this. Maybe I saw it.
Which, is all sorts of coolness. I mean, not coolness in that he would die, but you know what I mean. But it shows this possibility for a future villain to come out of the woodwork. Yeah.
Anyway, so I guess we'll start by telling you the plot.
Okay. So this starts about a week to 10 days after the death of King T'Chaka in Captain America, the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, they mentioned that in the news broadcast.
And that's how we know when this takes place. So this takes place a couple years ago.
The Marvel timeline has stopped making sense ever since Spider-Man Homecoming came out.
Yeah,
you have to pretend they mentioned different numbers than
Okay, quick question. Was there an alien in Spider-Man Homecoming?
No, there was the Vulture.
Okay. Because,
there was the tech they got from the dudes that invaded in
the
Avengers.
Chitauri. Okay.
Yeah, the tech from the Chitauri, but the Chitauri themselves didn't show up.
Okay, because I didn't see it, and I heard someone say something about aliens. And...
Yeah, alien tech. Yeah.
Well, no. Spider-Man died aboard an alien spaceship.
No.
Okay, well...
I do not remember Peter Parker dying in this movie. I think that would stick in my memory.
Well, it was a conspiracy theory that said, Peter Parker died aboard this alien spaceship, so Tony Stark, out of guilt, used Doctor Strange to send himself back in time to give Peter the Iron Spider armor, and... You know what? It was something stupid on the internet.
Well, that's a cool idea as long as they're doing with, they overwrote the timeline, because, no, he was not killed on an alien spaceship at any point during that movie.
Okay, was there an alien spaceship? Because if the fan theory is correct, then Peter didn't die.
There was a regular human crafted aircraft thing.
Crafted.
Crafted. It's a new word. I invented just now. Speaking of not being able to pronounce things.
Every name in this movie. Okay, remember what you just said?
Yes.
About how some of the tech in the movie was based on Chitauri tech?
Oh, yeah.
Remember that point.
Oh.
It's going to relate to something I'm kind of annoyed at.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so what we get is...
well, first, the backstory of Wakanda.
Okay.
A vibranium meteorite hit the area.
Okay, this backstory doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Really?
I mean, it makes sense. The way that it's set up makes sense. Narratively, it doesn't make sense. Okay, and a rewatch bonus, it's revealed that the person telling the story is the dad of...
Najobu, says Wikipedia.
Najobu, and we're definitely pronouncing that wrong because we're fucking white. And is telling us to his son, Eric. Oh,
Yeah.
Enric?
I thought it was Eric. Eric Stevens.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, from this
kinda...
angle, it just looks like an N.
Well, not anymore.
Eric Stevens. So, that's a rewatch bonus. We learn that this is why Eric knows about Wakanda, which will be important later, but in terms of plot, not about my bitching. However, I don't like this story in that it sets up that there are these 5 tribes that agreed this is Wakanda, and we will follow the rule of the Black Panther, and it sets up all this stuff.
King. He's a superhero and a king. He's passed down through
Which
generations.
you'd think would be like a special forces operative or something, not someone who, if they died, would lead to big shit happening that was bad.
You think maybe they'd give the king and his top men all the same herb, and then
what if they had
be an effective fighting force?
What if the Black Panther was like a separate position, and the king was like the descendant of this shaman, of like the shamans, so he'd have like magical powers and stuff, and also be really wise.
That could be cool.
That could serve as like a spiritual mentor and advisor to the character of Black Panther.
Yeah, well, I like the idea of separating out the politics just because it makes for interesting social situations. You're the guy in charge, but I'm the guy with powers. There was like, not that it's quite the same, but I'm suddenly thinking of that time where Lex Luthor got elected president and Superman had to deal with that somehow.
Yeah. I'm guessing alcohol was involved.
Oh, dear.
But what it does set up is, but there was a 5th... the 4 tribes stayed, but there was a 5th tribe that left into the mountains in the creepy skull-shaped fortress that they had for some reason. Okay, leaving aside the fact that I'm not really fond of the fact that they seem to imply that this shadow tribe would play a bigger role than it actually did in the film. Mm-hmm. And they did play a role. I'm not saying they didn't. But this, the Jabari tribe, I thought, based on seeing this, that the bad guy would be like a Jabari who was upset that they missed out on all the technological advancement and the super-powered flower things. That's because that's how you set up the bad guy. You say, they have this pre-existing grudge. Mm-hmm. But no, the Jabari just kind of don't really matter that much.
The Jabari...
They do, but they don't.
In a narrative sense, they're mostly the plot device to help bring T'Challa back from the edge. Both in the sense of rescuing him when he's nearly dead, and in the sense of doing the whole Gondor calls for aid thing. When they show up at the last minute and help us in battle, and I'm like, I saw that coming, you guys. This is totally a Gondor calls for aid moment. I can see it.
Yeah, but I don't know. I kind of figured that they were setting these up like antagonists. And
well, he was a minor antagonist, at least.
Okay, minor antagonist, but I was expecting like a big force antagonist. In Guardians of the Galaxy, Ronan was like, oh yes, the Kree Empire has signed a peace treaty, except for Ronan, who still has a fucking battle cruiser and is tooling around Xandarian space.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't expect Ronan, the accuser, to come in and he's like, I'm here to help the Guardians of the Galaxy!
Yeah, no. I actually...
I mean, yes... Watching Ronan fight against Ego the Living Planet would have been kind of cool.
Oh, wow.
I mean, just imagine that Ego battling against a guy with an Infinity Stone. That would have been cool.
Wow, okay.
Okay, but just it played on my expectations in a way that I I mean, I guess it makes sense from a real world point of view. It would be kind of odd if the one tribe that has a grievance against them would be the one bad guy in this film.
I took it as an acceptable red herring. I want you to think, like, this is obviously where the villain's going to come from, and he comes from a different angle. I'm like, okay, I can appreciate that. It wasn't exactly brilliant, but it was like,
the other problem I have with the Jabari is the entrance to their territory is just a fucking skull. I mean, why? Why would you do that? There is no reason for you to have a skull-shaped front door. Unless you are actually evil. And your mountaintop fortress is racked by constant lightning storms, and you planted speakers all around to play ominous music at all times, you do not have a skull-shaped door.
I think we should
to your house.
We should show up on one of those home remodeling shows and just this is our piece of advice: do not have a skull-shaped front door.
Oh my God! We're 10 minutes in. We haven't even. Okay, we haven't even got past the prologue yet. Oh my God!
So the Vibranium crashed way back when. 5 tribes fought a war against it.
Between each other.
Around it. Yeah. And eventually the Black Panther emerges by eating this heart-shaped herb that apparently never got named in the comics, I assume, because they never named it in the movie either. Which, you think they would have done that with all the character history. At some point it had a name. Anyway, he got this herb and apparently nobody else got it, and also got himself crowned king, and the Jabari were like, screw you, but apparently didn't entirely leave the nation. They're like a semi-autonomous zone or something, because they are able to show up for the rites of combat during the king's coronation.
Yeah, it's like it's
complex politics, I guess. I mean, that's understandable.
Like a Native American reservation, or maybe not. I don't know. We're white. This is gonna get uncomfortable, people.
Okay. So
it fast forwards to San Francisco,
California sometime.
Oh, Oakland, California.
Oh, Oakland. All right, thank you, Wikipedia.
Okay, we're in like the projects or something.
Yeah.
Or like a really rundown neighborhood.
Yeah, that's the idea.
And Najobu.
Oh,
yes. Cool. I was making up sounds. Najobu is there, and he's like, okay, now my best friend, who I trust more than anyone else in the entire world, we're going to rob this bank using these illegal weapons that we have. And then, the most natural next thing happens. A flying spaceship lands on their roof, and 2 women armed with spears knock on their front door and say, bitch, open up. Because that is a logical progression of events.
That's comics for you. I like it.
Yeah. Although, I'm still pissed that they use melee weapons instead of guns.
Yeah, that's...
God damn it, people.
That's always going to be a thing. I'm sorry.
It pisses me off. Why is the Punisher more logical than you people? And then, naturally, the king appears wearing his, Black Panther footy pajamas.
It's a, set of armor or something.
Okay, yes, I know that it's a set of armor, but, you show up wearing normal clothes, god damn it. That way, if anyone sees you, if you're the king of a nation trying to keep its resources secret, remember that point. I'm going to be pissed about it later.
Yeah.
Maybe don't wear the outfit made of the super metal that everyone knows from Captain America's shield. I'm just saying, you want to be stealthy, don't dress like a panther. Okay, yes, it is black, and so people won't see you.
And he sneaks in through the roof. He doesn't just, walk in through the front lobby. Hey, where's this guy's apartment? Is it 4-3?
But the ship glows. Yes, people see it from the ground.
Yeah, and that led to all those Roswell sightings or something. I guess they must have landed in Roswell at some time. It's a whole different story.
Oh my god. Well, I have to admit one thing I do admire about the MCU. They haven't done a Roswell thing.
Yeah, that's actually
I mean, a lot of other ones have done Roswell sci-fi universes have done Roswell shit.
I'm sure that came up in Stargate sometime.
One of the expanded universe novels, which is non-canon, said that it was an Asgard ship, which explains why Roswell Greys look like
that would have to make sense. Yeah.
Anyways, so shit happens, and
he accuses Najobu of treason, having stolen some vibranium from Wakanda and given it to an outsider criminal named Ulysses Claw, a villain who we've seen before.
We saw him in Avengers 2, Age of Ultron, aka the bad Avengers.
Bad
film.
Avengers.
I mean, I'm not saying that it was bad, but compared to the powerhouse of 2012,
Yeah.
oh, that was a good one.
Anyway, so the guy pleads not guilty, but then it turns out his right-hand man is actually a spy for the king and Wakandan and all this, and he's like, yeah, he's totally guilty. And he's like, what the hell?
He just has it like in a bag out in the open. It's like the most valuable substance on the planet, and you just have it in like a duffel bag over there. Like, you couldn't have hidden it under a floorboard or something?
Yeah, I should have done that.
I mean, like, you have the guns hidden in the floorboard, but not the thing that would make you the richest guy in the universe.
Yeah. Okay, anyway, the king says, what he actually says is, you will report back to Wakanda immediately and confess your crimes to the council.
And he doesn't just think, I don't know, let me just smack this guy over the head and drag his ass back up to my spaceship.
I mean, it was actually kind of it showed just how confident he was. Like, you know full damn well that if you try to run, we'll hunt you down. So I don't even need to, like, arrest you right here. Please come back on your own good time, or else we'll find you again.
Or he's just being a really huge douche. Okay, you have to pay for airfare yourself, dickbag, which I can tell you can totally afford with this.
Oh, boy. So that's the end of the prologue. They will visit that later.
Yep. It's like the scene where Luke tries to kill bitch face McWhiny Pants.
Kylo Ren,
yeah. Yeah, that's what I said. Bitch face McWhiny Pants.
Anyway,
which like his pants are weird. They go up to like above his belly button.
I don't know about Kylo Ren's pants. That's my slogan of the day.
Yep. So, then we fast forward to today-ish, where we go back to the same flying saucer thingy.
Yeah, or at least a very similar.
Where the new Black Panther is going on a mission. You know, just after his dad died.
Well, yeah. He wants to get his girlfriend there for the ceremony of his being crowned.
I mean, his ex.
His love interest. His love interest,
who is helping to save some women who have been kidnapped by bad guys?
Terrorists or something? I don't know exactly. They were clearly bad, though.
And they actually spared, like, a kid who was kidnapped and had no choice but to join these guys.
Yeah, I like those little bits of
that's
subtle, nuance.
Yeah, it's not every person who was here of our own free will.
I also like the first thing he does.
And more than just the prisoners.
Yeah, it's not the first thing he does is he sends down this EMP things to knock out the engines on the cars, and they all stop. And I'm glad to say that the bad guys here are smart enough to be like, there's a strange device on the roof of the car. Defensive positions. And they all, like, pass the word down, and they actually take defensive positions. And I'm like, thank you for at least trying.
Thank you.
Of course, they all get pwned anyway, but, you know, they tried.
Because, you know, Wakandan has this super material that's invincible to bullets.
Yep.
Yeah, so, and then the Black Panther just beats them all up and stuff, and they say, hey, Dad's dead, so love interest lady...
Her name is Nakia.
Nokia.
Nakia. Nokia being a brand name, I believe.
Yeah, it's a brand of phone that's legendarily tough, so I think it's made of vibranium.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so Nakia, we're going back home. No, I'm a spy. My dad's dead. I want you at the coronation. Okay, whatever.
Well, she doesn't roll her eyes at it. She's actually sad for his...
Oh, yes, because the rest of that conversation I described was totally accurate.
All right, well, anyway. So he brings her back for the coronation.
Yeah. Let's see. And apparently the coronation is a really involved thing that involves draining the river so they can have a really complex battle on the edge of a cliff while people wave spears at the combatants.
Yeah.
And the Jabari show up again and they're like, oh, your nation has... Oh, wait, sorry, I forgot to mention the other thing. To the rest of the world, Wakanda is a... fifth world power. I'd say third world, but no, they're even poorer than that. Wow. They have like no resources. No one wants anything to do with them. They're super poor goat herders or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then they pass through the force field and suddenly there's this city. Credit where credit is due. Because I'm still annoyed with them at some stuff, and I will get to this. Okay. I keep saying this, but I've rewatched past episodes, and I'm like, oh, I'll get to this. And then I forget to get to this.
Okay.
So I'm saying this again because I'm trying to remember.
Okay.
But this city looks futuristic without being obviously Asgard.
Yeah, that's very important. I like the architecture.
Okay, the reason I'm saying that is, I mean, it's unique, so it looks kind of alien and different from, the normal sci-fi crap, but it is still recognizably human. It's rough around the edges. There's still cranes building stuff.
There's voxels, to speak.
Voxels, yes, I was going to say. Voxels are any surface texture applied to a normally featureless object to make it look more interesting. Like a Borg cube is just a cube with tons and tons of voxels on it. But like in the DC animated universe, in one of their episodes where they go to New Genesis, they keep pointing out, oh my god, the floating city of New Genesis looks so beautiful and different and alien, and it looks exactly identical to how Metropolis looks in Superman the Animated Series. So I'm like, no. But this looks different. It doesn't look like an alien city that we just dropped down in the middle of nowhere. We didn't copy-paste Asgard into here. No, this looks recognizably human and futuristic. And you know what? I'm going to go right into my problem with this right now.
Okay.
I've been saying it, building it up. Fuck Wakanda. Okay. Now, I can understand to a degree that that they say they didn't want to be raped and pillaged and stuff by the white man during the African nation rushes for gold and slaves and colonies and stuff. And that's understandable and fine. But there's just there's this thing that happened a little while ago. Earth was invaded by aliens.
I remember that.
You bastards! It was on the news. Your king was in the United Nations. He couldn't not have heard about the president probably going out and saying, hey, we were just invaded by fucking aliens from a fucking wormhole, and the only thing that saved us was the Avengers, a bunch of superhumans. Guess what? Okay, let's be reasonable. The Chitauri went away and never came back. I mean, and it's not like there was another alien oh, wait! There was the Dark Elves, who crashed a skyscraper into London!
Because they crash everything into everything for some reason.
Yes!
So stupid.
So this is a second alien invasion in under 5 years, and that's not even counting Thor having his rumble in the desert, which Nick Fury said was the main reason why they're building Tesseract weapons in the first Avengers film. Because it showed how massively outclassed Earth was in comparison to Asgard. And presumably, all the other alien nations that Asgard deals with. Remember, generally nations that have no enemies don't have things like the Annihilator suit. Or, weapons forged from the heart of a neutron star. Generally that's not something that Switzerland does. Switzerland doesn't go, oh yes, we have no enemies, we are totally peaceful. By the way, have you seen our weather control device?
But
we keep it next to the moon-destroying missile.
Yeah, I mean, they do have a military in Switzerland, but I know what you mean.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
And that's not even... Okay, all the other shit that has come to Earth. The Chitauri, remember the Chitauri tech that you said was reverse engineered from Spider-Man Homecoming?
Yeah.
This was not this was not something that can just be brushed under the mat. Earth was invaded. Oh, and but I guess, it's not like people would know this sort of thing. It's not like it would directly affect Wakandans. Oh, wait! There was that AI that tried to wipe out everyone on the planet.
Oh, I remember that guy in that bad Avengers movie, right?
Right. Well, it's more of an okay Avengers movie.
Well, yeah,
it wasn't really bad,
comparatively,
but, it's almost as if you should have started sharing your invincible armor and force field technologies a while ago, once it became clear that, hey, hiding behind a wall is not going to save you.
Or anyone else.
Okay, so, this is a constant pet peeve of mine, that there are groups in comic books that don't lift a goddamn finger when their lives and their species are on the line. Now, okay, in the MCU, I will forgive S.H.I.E.L.D. agents since it was destroyed in Winter Soldier. And they're presumably a bit disorganized, probably hunting down other Hydra agents or trying to figure out which one of them are Hydra agents. I will forgive the magic users for not interfering because they're busy reinforcing the walls and protective things of Earth so that Dormammu couldn't get in, as well as policing their own. Fine, I understand that. I sympathize with that. But here's the thing. You have weapons. You have flying machines. You have force field technology. If you showed yourself, the white man isn't gonna go balls to the wall in trying to steal your land and resources. I mean, okay, they might. You know, we're kind of...
Well, even if they tried, you could probably win a war. I mean, you've
Yes.
got, like, all the coolest stuff.
Yes, thank you. And guess what? It is a buyer's market, seller's market, because everyone will want your weapons, your armor, your material, and your technology to make sure that we don't end up under the jackbooted heel of whatever dumbass decides to come pick a fight with Earth. 3 world-ending events in the last few years, and that's just the stuff involving the Avengers.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, I'm going to leave out Ego's plan, because I bet that got, like, classified by the government or some shit.
I guess, but a lot of people did see that. They started the expansion, remember?
Yes, but let's
Maybe
be
it got
honest.
swept under the rug somehow.
Swept under the rug somehow. Fine. But this stuff happened. You can't deny it. Wakanda's excuse is we don't want to have the problems of outsiders. Guess what? They're coming to you! Remember that line Tony said in the first Avengers? I'm bringing the party to you. And then he dragged a giant dragon monster straight towards them? That dragon monster is the real world. And Wakanda is that one guy who's hiding in the back and he's like, well, fuck it, this ain't my problem. I'm sorry, and maybe this is a little ungenerous of me. Maybe they had their own internal problems. But we never see or hear any of these things. I just get upset because how many lives could have been saved when the Chitauri... Okay, Captain America Civil War, they had a whole thing about, oh, this is how many people died thanks to the Avengers and their collateral damage. How many people would have been saved if, say, they had force fields? How many lives could have been...
saved? Yeah, well, this is what happens when you have several narrative ideas that work well independently, and then you throw them in together without judging the consequences, which is the big, Achilles heel of shared universes in general. Is that eventually stuff just does not make sense. The idea that there's a secret high-tech nation in Africa is a really nifty idea, and it allows a African hero to have all this high-tech stuff and to be a king of this new nation and to have all these narrative ideas going on. But then for that to be realistic in terms of, them, they ought to respond at least to world-ending events. Well, then suddenly you'd have, like, the Wakandan army shows up in the middle of Age of Ultron, like, and we haven't seen them before, and they just show up right at the climax, and there's a whole bunch of flying saucers and crap, and you're like, where do these people come from? And then they save a whole bunch of people, and the Avengers are like, oh, I mean, thanks, I didn't know, okay, fine. And that would be realistic, because in the real world, things happen that are narratively unexpected. But, in order to keep up the narrative, we have to make this stupid thing of apparently Wakanda was on break that day, and everyone was taking a nap.
Okay, I mean, it's not like Wakanda wasn't planned for. I mean, they said in the first Captain America movie, oh, your shield is made out of vibranium. And if they're planning for vibranium... They had to have the Wakandan stuff.
That's true. Well, they were hoping to use it eventually. I guess they didn't come up with a good excuse as to why Black Panther would be doing something else the whole time.
Okay, yeah, like Captain America Civil War. Thor and Hulk weren't around because they were busy off doing Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. Black Panther, it's just, well, we didn't... Well, I'm sorry, I would, but both of my thumbs are firmly stuck up my ass, and I can't get up to deal with this problem.
You know what? One way they could have done it, and it would have been a little weird.
No, I don't know any way it could have been done.
It could have been done that a bad king had been in charge that entire time, not of T'Challa's own line. And T'Challa's story is reclaiming the throne from this usurper who's held it for 20 years or something, right? So the bad guy didn't get involved saving the world because he doesn't give a damn about anybody else, and also he could be a little bit crazy if you want to throw that in there.
Have it be a Jabari guy. That would
Yeah,
allow
the Jabari were in charge of the nation this whole time, and T'Challa's got to get him back, you know?
Oh, and it could T'Chaka was like the king in exile. Kind of like Taiwan is still technically the Republic of China.
Yeah, you could have done that.
Yeah, and like he kept the Black Panther stuff and like some of the seeds for the heart-shaped
That's right.
fruits.
Yeah, he's just got like just the suit, so he can do like one-man stuff, but he couldn't save the world. And so that way, on the specific crises, you could be like, oh, on that particular day, that one guy was busy elsewhere on the planet, as opposed to the entire nation took a nap.
But yeah, that just pisses me off that there were crises. You could have helped.
Yeah.
Now, okay, I understand that individual film, that you're not necessarily going to bring in the Avengers for every little crisis. I can understand that you're not going to bring in every person for every threat. Fine. I get that. But still, like, after that's over, you could have Wakanda opened its larder and said, hey, we'd like to patent some of this shit and make some money.
Right. Well, I'll credit them that they did make this, and not to the extent that you're really pointing it out, but they made it a theme of this movie. Wakanda needs to be less isolated. We need to help our neighbors. Our ancestors were wrong. T'Challa actually yells at his ghost dad near the end. So they touched on it. But you're right. It could have gone like 5 times further than that in terms of just how much we've screwed. This isn't like, oh, we forgot to give money to charity. This is like, the world could have been blown to smithereens, Dad. What the frick?
And that's not hyperbole. Remember what Ultron's plan was?
That was literally his plan. To like, kill literally everyone. So not only is he failing to help out their neighbors, he's failing to save what itself. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, is Black Panther signed with the UN, or what's with that?
I mean,
they made the whole deal of that in Civil Wars. Are the Sokovia Accords still a thing, like, for him? That's not an issue anymore.
Maybe he's like
diplomatic immunity.
Maybe he's like Dr. Doom and has diplomatic immunity.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm pretty
sure. Are
sure.
there comics where Black Panther fights Dr. Doom? If so, can we see that? Because that sounds amazing.
I don't remember.
You can't hit me. I have diplomatic immunity as ruler of Latveria. Yeah, well, you can't hit me. I'm the king of Wakanda. I'm like,
we just sit there.
So shit. Now what do we do?
Somebody breaks the law. That's what they do.
Okay. Okay. This is challenge 86 to see which one of us is superior. Lord of the Rings extended edition, including all of the Hobbit films. Extended edition. First to fall asleep loses. Hey, that guy looks like Agent Ross. That guy sounds like Claw.
Boy, my boy.
Okay, yeah. So, we kind of derailed that for 20 minutes. Oh, God. We're never going to get through this.
Okay. So, T'Challa's about to get crowned. And they do a ceremony where all the tribes can send someone out to fight him if they want to claim the throne for themselves. And the first 4 tribes are like, nah, it's cool. We like him. And
including this guy with this creepy thing in his lower lip.
Yeah.
And, okay, I know that might be like a tribal thing, but ew, white.
Anyway, yeah. And then the Jabari show up, and their leader M'Baku says, "I'll fight you."
Yeah, and for some reason, okay, this part struck me as a little stupid, like. Beyond the world could have been destroyed when Ultron and you guys did nothing.
Beyond that.
Okay, beyond that, you couldn't have done this like at a gym. You couldn't have done this like not at the edge of a cliff.
No, it's supposed to be Deadly Challenge. This gym's
Why does every challenge have to be to the death?
I don't know.
It's like a thing in fiction. Okay, well, want to play a game of checkers? Of course. To the death! It's like every challenge. Most of it is in Star Trek and bullshit that rips off Star Trek. But why is it that we have to do this on the edge of a cliff and make it so that like the bodyguards of both guys have to stab them if they show any signs of cowardice? I mean, you couldn't do this on like some crash mats in... Not the edge of a cliff.
I'm just imagining how lame that would be, though. They have like the gym mat set up in like a regular high school gymnasium. There's like the sounds of some kids down the hall bouncing a basketball as they go to the other gym, and they're just like wrestling, and everyone's just sitting in the bleachers. And then like 1, 2, 3. Okay, you're the king. Ding. Like,
I mean,
it would be practical. I'm just saying, it wouldn't be very narrative.
Okay, it wouldn't be narrative. You know what it also wouldn't be? On the edge of a fucking cliff.
That's true.
I'm sorry, but there is, like,
if
you have hovercraft, you should not be deciding your rulers by duel to the death.
Can you imagine if they really modernized it and it was actually a democratic system and he had to go on campaign and like glad-handing the voters and purchasing attack ads on his opponents and like counting the polls on the night it comes in. There's like a Wakandan CNN, you know, like WNN or something, and freaking Wolf Blitzer is there, but he's like the Wakandan Wolf Blitzer somehow.
No, it's just Wolf Blitzer.
It's just Wolf Blitzer.
Because no one believes Wolf Blitzer, so they just like...
And it's like he gets elected. It's so lame.
That would be great.
No, I mean, it would be take a good writer to make that work.
Prince T'Challa claims that he'll be the protector of Wakanda. Black and white grainy photo. But what do we really know about his track record? Let King T'Chaka die. Known to be harboring the Winter Soldier, the one who killed T'Chaka. Let's Claw escape with the vibranium. As the new king, as the next potential king of Wakanda, I, M'Baku, will believe firmly in protecting all Wakandan lives and property, and not in being a total fuck-up like Prince T'Challa. I'm M'Baku, and I support this message.
Yeah, we could have done that.
That would have been great. Can we do that? How it should have ended. Contact us. We have ideas.
That would have been nice.
I know, right?
That'd be a good how it should have ended, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So anyway, they have an actual fight.
And they fight. And
then he finally persuades M'Baku to yield, so the guy can, you go back to his tribe instead of getting thrown off the edge of a cliff.
Something else that bugged me about this scene. Well, okay, two things that bugged me. First and foremost is that he didn't go up to the Jabari guy and say, "Look, M'Baku, our tribes have been not exactly tight for the last."
He could have made a small Picard speech there.
What say you and I, we work together for a new future for all of Wakanda. You can be one of us now.
Yeah.
With our air conditioning and flying machines and refrigerators.
Not skulls.
Yes, and not skull-shaped doors. Our architecture features very little bone-based.
No, the guy from Man of Steel got a job with the Jabari doing their architecture.
Yes.
It needs more skulls.
Yes. We have a review. One of the King Kong films is going to be Skull Island? Where? Skulls? Where? I heard skulls.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Okay. But I kind of expected him to do a Picard speech. Otherwise, it just kind of seems like the Jabari showed up and then they just walk away.
Honestly, I did feel, as I was watching this...
it would have showed his humility,
It should have shown some humility. It could have shown his, kingly qualities. Because you want to establish the guy as not just a superhero who happens to be in charge, but also a guy who knows how to lead a nation, and speak to the people, or in this case, rivals and so forth. I definitely felt, even during the fight scene, it felt, I don't know, I want to see it again to figure out exactly what, moments were missing. But particularly at the end of the scene, there should have been another moment there, even if it wasn't with words, just the way they look at each other as he's walking away, establish what is the emotional beat here. Instead it was like, oh, they're gone, and moving on now. It's a little odd.
Okay, the next thing that bugged me is that it's at this point that T'Challa gets the heart-shaped herb juice stuff.
Well, he gets it again. He's had it before.
Wait, he's had it before?
Yeah, do you remember at the beginning of the ceremony, they're like, now we will remove the Black Panther power from him.
Okay, I missed the first removal of it. I thought that was giving him his powers. So I thought, Captain America: The Winter Soldier
Yeah,
in the beginning of this film, that was all him without powers. I'm like, why does he need powers? He can go toe to toe with Captain America.
Yeah, no. So they remove it during the ceremony to make the odds fair, apparently. Which does beg the question, though, of on what occasions are you allowed to take this herb? Because supposedly it's only for the king, but he clearly had it already before getting crowned. That's why they had to take it away from him.
Well, I prefer to think
maybe
of
the
it
prince
like,
gets it also.
I was thinking that the king was so old at that point that he'd break all his bones, so he was like, okay, guys, look, modern medicine means that we don't die at 30, so maybe we should put in some things that say that someone else does the fighting and punching people.
Yeah. Okay, I can accept that.
Yeah, it's like in The Dark Knight Rises, where Bruce tries to go back to being Batman, and it turns out that his bones and his joints are all pulp.
Yeah, but then he puts on a magic knee brace, and suddenly he's fine to fight for the rest of the movie.
Okay, but you get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, at least they acknowledged it. Yeah.
Okay, and then what happens next, actually?
He gets crowned king.
Okay,
without an actual crown, but whatever, metaphorically. And we go to the Eric Stevens in the museum in Britain.
Kills a whole shitload of people, steals an axe that somehow no one noticed was made of vibranium. I don't know about you.
That's one heck of a patina that, like, you couldn't see the vibranium underneath.
Okay, not even the patina, but, like, dude, they scanned the crap out of this stuff. Have you ever seen how a museum works? They scan the crap for any irregularities. They don't just go...
Especially in the Marvel universe where they got better technology. They double scan everything.
Yeah, you figure that universities and museums will be lining up to rescan their stuff to determine, are there any flaws in this? Like how they discovered a couple years ago the Mona Lisa isn't doing so hot because it's 500 years old and painted on a thin wooden board.
Oh. Wow. Good luck, Mona Lisa.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to restore it as best they can, but... I mean, they're restoring it. I mean, it was a couple of years ago, so I'm not really sure, and I also don't care. But, like, you'd think they'd determine, hey, this feels different than any other thing we've found. Maybe we should check to make sure that it's normal. Stick it in a scanner. Oh, it's fucking vibranium! The stuff that is only supposed to be, like, Captain America's shield worth of it.
Yeah,
in the world.
There's, like, a few pounds of it in the world somehow.
I mean...
Also, by the way, I like how vibranium does everything.
Yeah.
It's like, it makes the plants grow in a different way that gives you superpowers. That's convenient. And also, it's incredibly hard, and also, it powers all our technology in a very vague sort of a way. Like, what does it do? Conduct electricity really well or something?
If it was a room temperature superconductor, that would actually be awesome.
Yeah, that would be
Although
cool.
that would also mean that you could really easily kill Black Panther with a taser.
Yes, you could. Okay. Put that down on your list of villain options. And what else does it do? Oh, yes. It also stops the momentum of any object that hits it, but only when you want it to stop momentum. Because apparently it's psychic. I mean, that's what Captain America does all the time.
Yeah.
But okay, just accept it.
It's magic.
It's magic. I guess it would feel a little more grounded if it was more specific in what it does, you know?
Yeah, like, if Tony Stark came out and explained what the fuck vibranium is.
That'd be nice.
Or Shuri came out and explained what the fuck vibranium is.
And then if you knew it well enough that you knew its limitations and the ways it could be exploited and stuff, like it's powerful but it has this weakness and this specific, but it gets into this comic zone sort of, no, it's just the thing that does the stuff, move on.
I mean, I guess it makes sense that, no, they don't explain much about vibranium in this film, considering every major character will already know what vibranium is and does.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the king of the nation whose main thing is vibranium.
Yeah.
The little sister who builds all of their vibranium technology.
Right.
The mom, who used to be,
Just from an audience perspective, though.
But
I don't know exactly how you would bring it up, but it'd be nice. I would like to know what the frick we're dealing with. Okay, but anyway, this guy, Eric Stevens, working with Claw, steals the vibranium artifact from the place, and makes a point while he's at it about white exploitation colonialism, because, like, hey, you guys stole this artifact in the first place, at least your ancestors did hundreds of years ago, so I can steal it back. Which
It'll be really funny. We see a flashback to that age. Hi, Hi, I am a white man. Can I buy? Hello, Mr. African man. I am a white man. I'll buy that from you for the equivalent of 5 pounds of gold. Deal. It's just like not even any explanation going on. It's just some guy bought it.
Yeah.
And leaves.
Oh, well, that throws off the entire worldview of Eric Stevens. Dang it. Okay.
Not really.
Not the entire worldview, but the excuse for this one act.
Which actually makes him more of a fascinating character. We'll get to that when we discuss his...
Yeah.
And I actually mean we'll discuss that later, and not I'll get really pissed off and then
we will
ranting about how he's
it.
a lazy shit.
The movie got a lot more interesting for me once they revealed the motivations of our villain. But in the meantime, he has stolen this thing, and he's gonna bring it over to a buyer in South Korea. And T'Challa is informed of all this, and he says, "All right, that's vibranium. That's our crap, and we're gonna go get it back." In the meantime, the guy, apparently the general in charge of guarding the borders,
who has war rhinos, which is awesome.
Who has war rhinos?
Okay,
whose war rhinos are CGI. They're like totally in the pasture, and I'm like, that's the CGI.
Yeah, it was fairly obviously CGI, but
yeah.
Rhinos are really fucking dangerous. So
they are. No, it's a cool idea. I would have thought that at least in that one scene where the war rhino is just sitting there, you could get an actual rhino. Just put some metal on it. And
rhinos are really stupid and really skittish.
Yeah.
Also, they're really endangered, so that would probably put it way over budget.
Okay, it might. All right, never mind. It just, I noticed it. And it kind of.
I mean, no, I know, but there's actual. It wasn't CGI for the sake of CGI. It was there are probably actual limitations to this.
So anyway, that guy is mad at Claw, who's involved in the theft, because Claw killed his parents. Did he kill his parents in the same in the previous? I'm not sure when he did that. He killed his parents at some point. I skipped over that part.
Remember how Claw was the guy that got the vibranium from?
In the prologue, he killed them then.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
In Avengers, no, not in the prologue, but in the
in Avengers Ultron?
Age of Ultron, Claw was the guy that got the vibranium from. Claw was the guy that, Ultron.
Yeah.
Got the vibranium from Claw. Claw stole the vibranium from Wakanda, took it out, and during that, he,
killed Wakabi's parents.
Yes.
Okay. So anyway, he's got a personal vendetta against Claw for that, and T'Challa promises him, "Don't worry, I'll get Claw, and I'll even bring him back alive, so you can personally either kick the crap out of him or just watch him be hanged or whatever they do around here."
Why are you doing this? I mean, you've been king for like less than 30 seconds. Why? You have spies. You have those war dog guys that they keep talking about later on. Wakandan secret agents planted throughout the world, which is another reason I'm pissed off that they didn't respond to any of this, because what, did they just skip the memo? Like, okay, well, the War Dog report from China says their price of tin is up 2%. The Vatican City guy, he's not doing so hot. He has a cold. New York said they were invaded by fucking aliens. Oh, Chicago guy says that our fantasy league is doing great. Just skip all of the alien invasions.
Yeah, no, like Wakanda's just been taken over by bureaucrats that don't want to do anything.
Have the war dogs and your girlfriend, who is a spy,
go
out and get these fuckers.
I'm gonna make a broader comment on these isolated societies in comics, because I'm thinking of Themyscira now, whose like whole purpose is to eventually kill the god of war, Ares, and apparently they haven't been bothering to like send someone to check once a year to see if there's a giant war going on, because like World War I gets started and they don't notice this until some random American just happens to like wander in, like, oh, freaking, there's a giant war happening.
Okay,
and we didn't notice.
Let's be fair here. Let's be very fair to Themyscira. They didn't notice World War I. That is not a bad thing. They could have missed World War II. That was much bigger. That would have been just lazy. Oh, you know who else missed World War I and World War II? Wakanda!
Yes.
Okay, that one actually I will forgive, because, it's the affairs of outsiders. I can understand that one.
Yeah. Okay, but point is, Black Panther and, what's her name? Okoye and Nakia all go to South Korea.
Ah, the Star Trek logic. Let's send the captain and his two first
Yes.
officers down when we have, like, tons of other people who could do this shit
Right.
instead.
That was kind of in the back of my mind as I'm watching this entire thing. Like, couldn't you send, like, half a dozen Wakandan SWAT teams, or whatever you call them? Like, just block all the exits and storm the place, and you have a whole nation worth of dudes. You could get some of them.
Well, that
to help
depends.
out.
Do they have guns? Because I don't think I ever saw someone using a firearm this entire movie that was Wakandan design.
Even so, a dozen people on your side is better than 3. Eh.
You know what this guy is. I mean, you have to have. You could just have war dogs watch this place where he's supposed to be, let all the air out of their tires, and then say, "Hey, how's it going?" and kick the shit out of him. You can do that.
Just disable his vehicle. That would help a lot.
And drag his ass back to Wakanda and, like, hang him or something. I don't care. Feed him to the rhinos. I don't know.
Ugh. Are rhinos vegetarian?
Yeah, they're vegetarian.
Okay, that doesn't
Feed
work.
them to the hippos.
Oh God, not the hippos.
Well, actually, hippos are like...
They are. I know they are.
They're fucking
actually
dangerous.
scary. Yeah, watch out for hippos.
Yeah. They look cuddly, but no.
Oh. They're hungry.
Yeah,
Hippos.
except no, they're actually hippos kill more people in Africa than do a lot of other things. They're like
Yeah.
the most dangerous mammal in Africa.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding here.
Except for man, the most dangerous.
Oh,
animal.
shut up. That's bullshit, and you know it.
I don't know. Anyway, the point is they're going to South Korea, and while they're meeting at this like secret casino for backroom deals or something, black market casino, T'Challa notices this guy.
The soundproofing on this place must be fucking amazing, because I imagine this place gets loud, and there's got to be like apartments upstairs, and they're just like, keep it down there.
Maybe. Or they're all gamblers. They bought the apartments upstairs.
I don't know.
So he notices CIA agent Everett Ross. Have we
met?
I was about to ask that.
God damn it. Okay, click the link.
Because T'Challa mentions, like, oh, I remember this, he's a friend from the CIA.
Oh, he was in Captain America Civil War, Deputy Task Force Commander of the Joint Counterterrorism Center. Reports to Secretary of State Thaddeus Ross. Really? Thaddeus Ross is Secretary of State. My God, I forgot about how stupid that is.
He was that guy who's, like, talking to Zemo when he's in the prison at the end. And be like, hey, I'm in charge now. What the frick?
Yeah, he has never been in charge of anything. He's been... Seriously, every time that someone he says, oh, I'm going to interrogate this guy, it goes horribly wrong.
Boy. Well, okay, the point is, I barely recognize this guy, and then T'Challa's like, oh, he's an old friend from the CIA, and they mentioned that apparently he has agreed to keep it secret that the king of Wakanda is also a superhero. It's a little vague. Okay, fine. But he doesn't know that Wakanda has got all this cool technology and stuff.
Where does he think he get the cool super suit that can deflect bullets? The primary export of Wakanda is supposed to be nothing because they're way too freaking poor. But we'll just outfit our king with this thing that is the most bulletproof, invincible object in the universe.
Apparently he assumes they only have that one suit, and then they ran out of vibranium after that.
Okay, that's like the best explanation I can give, but goddamn, man.
Even then, man, like, sell the suit and get yourself some, like, food or medicine or things that you need.
Drill until you reach Saudi Arabian oil. I don't care.
Oh, that would be very, very diagonal. I'm trying to do the math in my head.
That's the problem, and not the molten core of the planet.
Okay, anyway.
Or all the fault lines, or... God damn it.
Oh, man. Now we know what Wakanda was busy with this whole time. They were building a very diagonal oil thing that they didn't need, and they know.
Because magical vibranium... Wait. Yeah, vibranium. How does that even work?
I don't know. Point is, he's like, okay, so apparently this CIA guy is trying to buy the vibranium from Claw.
Which makes sense, because this is the stuff Captain America's shield is made out of.
Yeah, so if they ever want to make another one...
Or bribe Cap to come back.
Or bribe Cap to come back, yeah.
Where the fuck is Cap?
Tony has the shield right now, right?
Yeah, no, it's broken, remember?
Is it?
Yes, it's broken.
Wait.
Yes, it was broken in half in Captain America Civil War.
When did they break the shield?
In the final battle.
I thought he did not do that.
I was pretty sure that they
I thought that just happened in a dream sequence in Ultron, and it didn't happen in real life thing.
Okay, we're gonna check this.
Point is, his shield. He left his shield to Tony.
Actually, no. Tony said, "No, you don't get that shield. That shield belongs to my father."
Right, and then Cap dropped the shield to be like, "Fine, take it."
Yeah, but it wasn't left to him.
He left it there on the ground.
I would have loved if Tony just used his armor to just fling it at the back of his head. Dong! God damn it, Tony! Fucker!
Anyway,
so
the CIA is trying to buy this vibranium, and the Everett Ross agent guy says to T'Challa, "Hey, you let this go down, and then you and I can come to some sort of agreement." And there was another option there for T'Challa to use his diplomacy powers of some kind and be like, okay, wait, let's think about this. Is there a way we can make the swap and then I nab Claw, and then can you give me the vibranium back because that was stolen? Or the politics that would normally get involved with the head of
and
state.
then we'll give you the money back.
And then we'll give you the money.
We just want this this asshole.
Yeah. See, and the CIA doesn't like Claw. They're just buying stuff from him because they want the vibranium.
Yeah, because it's the rarest substance on the planet, and it can be used for all this shit.
You let us ambush Claw, and we'll take the diamonds from him and give the diamonds to you, and you give the vibranium to us, and then we'll be done. And maybe they wouldn't agree to that, but I don't know. There was an option
there. You get Claw. We'll sell you the vibranium. You get Claw. We'll buy the vibranium from you using the diamonds we were going to pay him.
Right, yeah.
I mean, your nation's impoverished, why not?
Yeah, you think he would offer that. But instead, it's just like, no, I'm not here to make a deal. Like, okay. So, all heck breaks loose because Claw's got a whole bunch of men, and they fight.
And he has a death ray in his arm.
Oh, yeah, he's got that now.
Okay. Where the fuck did he get a death ray in his arm? He implies that it's Wakandan technology, but how did he get into Wakanda? Are there just a large number of Wakandans who live outside of Wakanda who are also cybernetic limb guys and have access to enough vibranium to build a sonic death ray?
Again, with what vibranium does it generate the power of the death ray also? Or I don't even know what's going on.
Yeah, vibranium doesn't make sense. It's like magic goo.
Yeah, it's applied phlebotinum.
You know what? At least with Mass Effect, when they had Element Zero, they at least made a token attempt of explaining, here's what Element Zero can do. It might not always be consistent across the entire series. Occasionally we need to throw in, oh yeah, the Mass Effect field does this. But, we say positive charge increases mass, negative charge decreases mass. Fine. What does vibranium do?
Stuff.
So go fuck yourself.
The bad guys get away with the vibranium and the diamonds. Did that happen?
I don't know.
Anyway, they get away with stuff, and there's a
Claw.
big old chase scene in which Shuri, T'Challa's sister, is remotely controlling cars, way all the way from the distance of Wakanda.
Which I don't think that would work.
Yeah, within the limits of the speed of light, that's not going to be the low enough latency.
I was more thinking about the fact that cars aren't computer networked enough to do that.
I could take it as in the Marvel world they've got more computers or something. It's pretty vague. I'll give you.
I would love it if
what really
it
got
was
me was the light speed latency.
I was more thinking, what if you get a stick shift and she can't drive stick?
Right.
Or if it's just oh yes, I'm showing up at this high class casino in my pet project, this rust bucket of a Beamer. My gremlin. It's just got no computer, so she can't do anything to it.
Yeah.
It gets all of 3 stations. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and then they start fire. Okay, at one point during the chase scene, they start firing at this car that girlfriend and captain of the guard, bald lady, are in, and they say bullets. So primitive. But it's wait, so is the whole car vibranium? Is the windshield vibranium?
Apparently,
is vibranium clear?
I guess.
You can make cars out of this shit?
Did they have that shipped in from Wakanda? Just
how did you avoid notice with that? It's like a car. And shouldn't you be in trouble for,
I guess they brought it in the spaceship or something, right? They just dropped it on, like Pelican style.
Yeah, but...
Halo Pelican.
Okay, but like, shouldn't the CIA be really pissed that they violated, like... Do they have their passports on them? I mean, like, diplomatic immunity only goes so far, and I think that only covers the king.
You have to be a declared diplomat. You can't just, like, walk across the border without telling them. That's called spying.
Also, shouldn't, like, that count as delivering weapons across the borders? Because...
I don't think they're bothering with the politics of South Korea at all here. They're just like, we don't give a damn.
And you think that there will be, like, if there's a nation that's concerned about weapons getting transported across borders, it would be South Korea!
Oh, man, yeah. Imagine a Marvel universe with realistic politics. That'd be very strange and different, but possibly really interesting.
I've always wanted to see more of She-Hulk as a comic. Because, like, I remember reading one where it was just dealing with her being a lawyer, dealing with superhuman cases. And, like, some of the examples they showed were mole people dealing with this oil tycoon who wanted to hire the mole people to help do more environmentally conscious digging.
Aww.
Or, like, some hawk people that I've never seen before. And they're like, oh, yeah, we'd like to buy a roost up in Manhattan. Oh, you mean, like, a loft? No, we do not.
Point is, they eventually capture Claw and they interrogate him, and Ross hears from Claw that Wakanda is rich and they've got all sorts of vibranium. I did kind of like the little bit where he mentions that Wakanda is essentially El Dorado, and all the explorers thought it was in South America, and they were just stupid enough, and it was actually in Africa the whole time. And I was like, okay, that actually kind of fits. That was all so legendary that they got the continent
Here's
wrong.
my thought, though. I thought they said that the advanced technology of Wakanda was coming from Shuri, right?
Well, it's coming from vibranium. I mean, the most recent stuff is Shuri, but I think they've been advanced for a while now.
How advanced are they? And how long ago were they advanced, and to what level?
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, yes, you might have a bow and arrow, but I have a bow and arrow with a really pointy tip. Oh, yes, fear the feared Wakandan technology.
Yeah, that's really
Do they have addle-addles, or what's going on here?
I like they make one little reference that the rest of the world is catching up to us, and was like, yeah, you're actually,
Yeah, you're actually not that impressive. Your flying thing, what about the Quinjets?
Yeah, we have those now. I mean,
Quinjets, and Tony Stark has those arc reactors everywhere now.
Yeah, that's another thing when you're trying to make characters that... Like, every one of them independently has got, like, really cool technology, and ultimately it just means everyone's got cool technology, and you're like, oh, well, is anybody that doesn't have the latest and greatest things? Tony Stark and...
The Hulk.
Yeah, the Hulk is true. But that leads into the other bit where all the heroes are always kind of roughly equally matched all the time.
Yeah, when it really shouldn't be.
Like, in the first Avengers, Iron Man goes up against Thor, and he's kind of evenly matched, and then it's Iron Man versus the Hulk, and they're evenly matched. And yes, he has to call in a better suit, but still, he has one of those.
Okay, yes, yeah. And those are like okay for evenly matched stuff. I do like superhero teams that treat like the less powerful members as equals. Like,
well, I like them to have respect, but I also like it to this sense of realism of some of us just have stronger abilities than others, and we have to like strategize around that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's the sort of thing Linkara talked about when he talked about the first Justice Society of America comic. How at the table, each hero is considered equal, even if one of them is the Spectre, literally the spirit of God's vengeance. Right. And that's not hyperbole there.
Yeah.
That is his job description. And another is just a guy who happens to be kind of strong and is good at boxing. I mean, there's going to be scenarios where the Spectre is not going to be good at police investigation. Or, I can't really imagine him being good enough with people to do the shit that, red hair, Black Widow pulled in the second Captain America movie. Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
When everyone's looking for him with the Hydra stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, each hero has its own... Why are we on this topic?
Okay, so back to talking to...
No, I literally do not remember how we got on this topic.
Okay. We got on this topic because everyone has high technology all the time, and it makes it feel not special anymore.
Okay, yes. But yeah, the Quinjet, we already have all of this stuff. It's like, we have free, clean power and hover tech. You see Tony Stark, I'm sorry, guys. I just flew in using my arc reactor and my super suit that is man-portable. What did I miss?
Yeah, his suit is actually more powerful than the Black Panther suit, objectively.
I mean, we don't know.
It's got ranged attacks, so I'm going to give it the win right there. Tank missile from a mile away.
Yeah, or the unibeams. Which I'm guessing if he has, like, Captain America's shield, Tony would figure out how to make unibeams that would cut through that in case he has to face Captain again.
Oh, gosh.
Well, I'm not saying... I mean, he's Tony. He's an engineer. He hears, oh, I can't do this. And he goes, excuse me, hold my beer. Literally, hold my beer. I'm going to do this.
Right.
His response to, you're dying of blood poisoning was, I'm going to make a new element out of my father's plans for an amusement park.
Yes.
This is not a man who goes, oh, a challenge? Well, I guess that's it. I better go sit down. Let the youngins handle this one.
Okay, so while they interrogate him for a while, and there's this bit where T'Challa is actually spying on Ross as Ross is talking to Claw. It wasn't super important, honestly, what he heard from that.
Yeah, it was mostly just,
okay, so they know that we know...
The crazy guy is talking crazy shit.
The guy's talking about vibranium, yeah. Then Claw gets rescued. He gets rescued by Eric Stevens and crew. Very
Which is kind of amusing, if only because they physically picked up the chair and didn't bother to unchain him. Yeah. Which is just funny in and of itself.
Yeah. So they get away, and T'Challa is, like, failed now, and, oh, crap, he has to go home and explain this to W'Kabi.
Oh, and Ross is suddenly, crippled now.
Oh, yeah.
But we can heal him with our technology!
Because vibranium could also heal his bullet wounds.
Okay, they have nanotechnology, so at that point, I'm like,
no,
okay, this is a little more...
Yeah, that's true, but it wasn't like, we have vibranium, and separately we also invented nanites. It was like...
No, they previously said it. It was like... They had the suit in the necklace, remember? That was nanotechnology that created the suit.
No, I know, that's true.
So I'm not saying it's like, oh, of course they have every technology under the sun.
Yeah.
But like, I am willing to believe that they can use nanotechnology to heal someone's spine.
Yeah. Well, okay, so he took a bullet. Ross took a bullet to save somebody. One of the girls, I forgot which. And so then it's okay. Apparently, he can't be healed in anywhere else in the world except a Wakandan hospital.
I just wanted to hear Stephen Strange go, "Excuse me."
Yes.
Excuse me, sir. Hold Tony Stark's beer that I was holding for him while he took that challenge. You see the Hulk? I mean, you see Bruce Banner? Dude, I can't drink. Otherwise, I turn into the Hulk. You hold this, Thanos.
Oh, God. No, I'm thinking of all the
My
other
characterization isn't set up yet, so I really don't know how much to respond to this.
Yeah. I'm thinking of all the other ways you can make this work all of a sudden, though. It's like, Tony Stark probably has nanites, if anyone has it. And freaking, we could hit him with gamma rays, because apparently that makes you the Hulk. And we
but on the plus side, it could make him the Hulk. On the minus side, it could make him the Hulk.
I know.
That's not exactly a good side effect.
No, it's not. No, nor do we have gamma rays just sitting around. But the point is, they take him to Wakanda, and it's kind of a thing like, oh, we're bringing in a CIA officer into our territory. He'll be like duty bound to report everything he sees will be revealed to the world.
So naturally, they put him in an isolated area with like very low minimalistic technology. Naturally, on the board. Oh no, they bring him to the central laboratory of the most brilliant person on the continent.
And they don't keep him.
I mean, assuming Tony Stark isn't somewhere in Africa right now.
Yes.
Let's just assume that.
Yes. And they don't.
And Bruce Banner's still off world.
And, yep.
Wait, was he? Yeah,
Richards
he was
isn't hanging around either.
I mean, I don't know if he's in the MCU
no, he's
yet.
not.
I mean, Disney did just buy the rights to the Fantastic Four from Fox, so he could be showing up soon, but I don't really... The point is, he should not be in the central laboratory area.
And they don't keep him sedated. I thought that was really silly. Like, at first he's unconscious. And they're like, okay, we can heal him. Like, okay, cool. And, like, T'Challa walks up the ramp to go talk to somebody else.
Why did they have an elevator there?
Yeah,
that seems like...
Are cool.
Oh, God, I have to go to the bathroom. I have to run up this spiral staircase.
Don't drop a pen when you're on the staircase. It'll roll all the way down. Ah, dang it.
Did that thing have rails?
Not that I saw.
Oh, good. Good. This is how the nation stays so small. No OSHA.
Point is, so then later on, he just wakes up in the lab, and Shuri's like, "Hi there." And he's like, "Where am I?" She's like, "Wakanda." And I'm like, I thought you guys were trying to keep shit secret. You could have just kept him unconscious.
And then they were like, for the rest of the movie, should we reveal the existence of Wakanda? Well, that depends. Are you going to off this guy to keep the secret? Because otherwise, I don't fucking think so.
Yeah. Anyway, T'Challa goes back to the throne room where, what's his name? Eric shows up, also called Killmonger.
Well, okay, there's a scene in between there where,
that's right.
where Killmonger shows how utterly devoted he is to his cause of being an anarchist.
Well,
but he
not
murders
exactly
like
anarchist, more a black supremacist, to be honest.
He's a bit anarchistic.
He wants to be king and rule a military and tell everyone else what to do. That's like the opposite of anarchy.
Yeah, but he also wants
he's a
uprisings
dictator.
in every single nation in the world, and he tortures the heart-shaped
That's true,
garden.
but anarchy on the route to and then we conquer you. So
yeah, but there's like I don't know.
Whatever.
People can't. One of the things I do like about Killmonger is that he's complex. People don't just want one thing.
Yeah.
You can do multiple things.
You can do multiple things. That's true.
Okay, so he comes up to the border of Wakanda, shows off that he has a stupid inside the gums tattoo thingy.
Yeah, that's apparently how you prove you're Wakandan.
Yeah, I also thought that was how you identified horses.
Oh, gee, I had not thought of that at all.
Yeah,
Is
so
that true?
I'm not 100% sure. I think they might have done that to some African slaves at some point, so I don't know how political this is.
Huh.
So again, I'm white.
You think if they were doing that to slaves, they would brand them on the outside, because that's simpler.
Well, yeah, but then you could, burn off that.
I guess. Ugh. This whole topic
I mean,
is
I do
so
know
sad.
horses, it used to be that they tattoo the inside of their lips. That's where we get the origin of the phrase, don't look a gift horse in the mouth.
I thought that horses tend to show signs of disease in their teeth, and that's why you're not supposed to look it in the mouth.
Well, they also did the
they
thing
also
with
did the
there.
thing. All right.
It's to show, okay, we're not giving you, some secondhand property or something.
Okay.
Of course, I could be wrong on that one. Anyways,
We're not horse experts either, guys.
despite the fact that we reviewed a whole bunch of My Little Pony
That's
shit.
right.
Okay, horses, they can fly at Mach 1,
Yes.
and if you expose them to the elements of harmony, they can become princesses.
Woo. Okay.
Also, they have interdimensional portal technology.
Yep.
Because of course they do.
Because of course.
Yeah. So, okay, he kills Claw, which is a big disappointment because I liked Claw. He was wacky and weird, and he had a lot of potential as this underground, seedy black arms dealer.
I like the way he was joking around during the interrogation. You were like, oh, this guy's got some personality instead of a generic "I'm not gonna talk" thing.
Yeah, but
and earlier when they were at the black market casino thing, and he walks up to Ross for the deal, and Ross is like, "Oh, you guys quite an entourage you got there. Are you gonna release your hit single soon?" And
he has a hit single.
Well, I don't even know if he's just taking the joke that far, or if honestly this is his hobby, and they actually are trying to release some music.
Yeah,
and he's just so happy to talk about
I'll give you the link to my SoundCloud.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to hear that. No, I'll give it to you anyways. I choose to believe that Claw.
That should have happened in the credits. The African music stops halfway through, and then it's just Claw's music video or some shit.
Yes. Well, I mean, Claw is known for having a sonic weapon, so it would fit for him to have music tastes.
Right.
If only because he could blast people with actual AC/DC music.
Yeah, he could. Okay.
No, you don't deserve Rick Astley. No, you don't deserve AC/DC. So that's it. You get Rick Astley. No!
Killing you loudly with my song. Killing you loudly.
Looks like I did give you up.
Terrible puns.
I'm gonna give you up. I am going to let you down. I will run around and hurt you.
Evil Rick Astley?
No, a gun that fires Rick Astley.
Okay, I know that's true, but if Rick Astley did turn evil, that's what he would say, right?
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so let's get off of evil Rick Astley.
Put that in want a t-shirt. Me, Rick Astley.
Okay, so guys, let's get off the topic of evil Rick Astley to continue discussing Black Panther. Okay, so he brings drags Claw's corpse, like, to the edge of Wakanda. Like, was there a plane or a helicopter?
I think there was a plane. They were in, like, a plane.
I just have this wonderful mental image of him having to drag that, like, 5 miles. I'm like, God damn it, I should have landed closer.
Yeah. Fun is, he drags the body over to Wakabi, the guy in charge of the borders, and he's like, hey,
he just happens to be there.
Well, I mean, he's the guy in charge of the borders. That's true. How is he
on
every
border
of
a country?
Yeah.
This isn't Vatican City.
Yeah.
I'm guessing this place is bigger than Rhode Island, at least.
Yeah, you would think so.
Yeah, but you'll be wrong.
Yeah.
Because of course you were.
So, drags him over, and he's like, hey, Wakabi, look, I killed that guy that T'Challa failed to kill. Which I'm glad they had this element in there, because if Wakabi is going to think of betraying his king, he now actually has a reason to do that.
Yeah.
Thank goodness. It didn't just happen randomly.
Yep.
Then he goes to the throne room.
And they bring him there because, and here's a bit of realism, even though he has the war dog tattoo, they don't recognize him, so they're like, hey, yeah, this doesn't make any frickin' sense. Let's get some experts on this. What doesn't make sense is they bring this guy to the king. Okay, look, T'Chaka must have been the world's worst micromanager if their first instinct is, okay, let's send out the king to be both our assassin, our spy, our secret agent, our superhero, and now let's have him answer all the random crap.
I can just imagine the other way they did it is like, freaking T'Challa gets like some paperwork across his desk and I notices, oh, that guy's stuck in the bureaucracy, and then just starts transferring him back and forth between departments for a few weeks, trying to make sure this doesn't get to become a thing. You know?
I mean, just, God damn it, people, just micromanaging. It's not good.
No, it's not.
The main character does everything. God damn it, TV tropes will ruin your life.
That's a trope too. So he brings him up straight up to the throne room, and Eric reveals his whole backstory. So he was the son of N'Jobu from the intro. And I liked what we did in the intro because they make it seem like this has already served its narrative purpose. I thought the whole idea was just to set up that there are some Wakandans who are not loyal to the king. And here was one of them. And then he got caught. But maybe later on there'll be some more people. Maybe like the Jabari or something, right? Who are doing other things. And there's a kid who's playing basketball outside this building.
You didn't think of anything of the kid. When
because the kind of focuses on him, and then he sees very vaguely the lights of the UFO going up. And you're like, oh, so random civilians are vaguely aware that there's more to the world than meets the eye. But that was it.
Da 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 da.
Okay.
Oh, come on. We would love it if that ship was like, okay, now we must go to South Korea. I think not, flashbacks. Starscream will now rule Wakanda.
Oh, God. And Black Panther just be crawling all over him, stabbing him everywhere.
Yeah, that would be great.
That'd be cool.
Okay.
So
unfortunately, Starscream is not in this movie.
Anyway, so that guy that we are told to, N'Jobu was told to report for trial, and it turns out a minute later he tried to murder his friend who was the spy that turned against him. So T'Chaka, T'Challa's dad, had to kill that guy, N'Jobu.
And even here, he's, completely just micromanaging. He has 2 guards! The whole reason you have guards is so you don't have to do this shit yourself!
Yeah, oh well. So he kills his, I should mention, N'Jobu's his brother. So he kills his own brother because the guy was evil. And then they cover it up.
It wasn't really evil. It was, the way they explained it was kind of made him more interesting.
Yeah, that's true. Well,
he was radicalized and saw the plight of other nations. It's just that he went the pants on head way of trying to fix it. Let's start all of the rebellions.
Yes. So yeah, he and then they set the whole thing in a rundown neighborhood, the projects sort of place, and it's like, hey, black people have suffered a lot of poverty, and why can't the black people of Wakanda help out the black people of everywhere else? So there was like a point to that. That's good. Anyway, though, he dies, and then they cover it up, and they must have buried him somewhere. and they left his son there.
No, they didn't bury him. They left the body there.
Oh,
that
that's
the
right.
son
That's
found
right.
it.
That's right.
Wait, how did they report that? I mean, how did the cops find that? Well, let's see. It's this guy. His best friend who's here all the time is missing. He has a bunch of maps of major banks and other weapons locations, and he appears to have been impaled by 10 claws. Well, let's label this as a what the fuck is going on here.
I mean, he got killed by a criminal associate would be the obvious bit, you know?
Yeah, which weapon is it that leaves 10 finger-shaped claws?
Well, this is the Marvel Universe.
No, this is the Marvel Universe before everything was unmasked.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, remember, Iron Man is kind of the start of where all the weirdness...
Yeah, okay.
I mean, yes, there was Captain America and that stuff, but I kind of get the sense that there was like a time skip between there and that the weirdness was...
Well, yeah, that's true. That wasn't... People aren't talking about, like, oh, the heroes we had in the 70s. Remember those? Like, nah.
Yeah, no, there weren't really any heroes in the 70s.
I feel like we suddenly drifted into political commentary all of a sudden.
Well, okay. We're white. Moving on.
No, anyway, whatever. Okay. So...
Mark Hamill.
Yeah, Mark Hamill was a hero in the 70s.
Okay, moving on. Next.
Okay. Point is that they
and
left his body there, and they left his kid there because apparently he had met an American woman, and they'd had a kid. We never see the woman, the mom.
Maybe she died in childbirth or something.
Maybe. I don't know.
This is technically a movie by Disney, so you know, moms are like the most. Mom is the most death-ridden profession in Disney.
I guess, except for villain, but yeah.
No. I've seen more moms die than I've seen villains die. So.
Well, generally the moms are just sort of vaguely not there, or the dad in case of like Toy Story.
Yeah, but most of them take place in stories where it's before the women's liberation movement and in the we're shitting in the streets. We're tossing our shit into the streets era of history. I don't think divorce was really what was going on.
Oh, that's a thought. Yeah, okay. So, point is, they left the kid there, and he had to grow up in poverty, and now doesn't have a dad either.
Oh, and he was the one to find his dad's corpse violently eviscerated.
Yeah, they couldn't bother doing anything else with that.
Oh, and he now has the knowledge that it was Wakandans who did that because he'd been told about Wakandans earlier. He had to have had the war dog tattoo before his dad got offed, because otherwise he finds another war dog who happens to also be radicalized in the same way, and he never gets mentioned.
If they
he said that his dad gave him the war dog tattoo.
Right.
So.
It does occur to me that if T'Chaka had just shot N'Jobu with a gun, then the kid never would have figured it out.
Or vaporize him with using your advanced Wakandan technology. Oh, no, wait. You don't want to share that with anyone.
Okay. Point is, they left the kid behind. I don't know why they left the kid behind, actually.
That's actually kind of a stupid thing to do, really.
They said, we had to maintain the lie. And
wouldn't it be easier by not leaving behind a child who can spread all this shit about Wakanda?
Yeah, they didn't, think for a moment that maybe this kid knows stuff, because maybe his dad told him, because his dad was breaking the law anyway, even if there was a law against telling your own son about this.
Which, there's no reason to suspect that it would. I mean, maybe it would. I don't know. Well, then again, he already...
I mean, there's probably a rule against marrying and having a kid without... while on a mission... it might distract you from your job if you're a secret agent and all
that seems like a thing.
Seems like a thing. Anyway, were they aware that the kid existed? Was that the no?
Yes, they knew the kid existed.
Yeah, they said because we needed to maintain.
They just didn't take him.
That would have been actually better if they just didn't realize the kid existed.
Yeah.
But okay, then the spy would have known the kid existed, right?
Right.
Unless he kept it secret from his best friend.
Maybe he fucking hated
reason.
the kid. It was like, oh, was there a kid? No, definitely no kid that we want to take along and interrupt me whenever I'm trying to get a booty call. No child. Go. Fuck you, kid. That doesn't exist. What was that? What was that? Nothing, my king.
Okay, so they left. The king left the kid behind
because he's an idiot
for no good reason. The kid grew up suffering, and his name was Eric Stevens. Now he grew up, and he decided that he wants to rule Wakanda, because frick the king and his whole line. And he also wants to spark rebellions all across the world because frick the man who's keeping us down, over policing us, and all. And there's like legitimate issues he's bringing up. So
which is what makes him a better character. He has relatable motives. He brings up the shit that not necessarily all the shit, but he's like, we have better technology. We can share this with the world and improve the lives of so many people.
Right, and
now it's implied he means African people, but I'm willing to bet that when faced with suitcases full of money for patent rights, he might not say no.
He might. And yeah, they're touching on, like, you know, not just the issue of CamelCon to help people out, but the real life issues of the black experience.
White.
Which, again, we don't know necessarily much about, but I've heard things. So, okay. And they're touching, and of course, thank goodness they were smart enough in their Black Panther movie to make freaking everyone black. There's exactly 2 white people. One of them's good, one of them's evil. Balance that out. Everyone else black on all sides. Thank you.
Yes. Okay, so then he gets brought to the throne room because T'Challa is a micromanager and can't possibly, you know, let someone else handle this shit. Mm-hmm. And Eric goes, I am the son of the other kid that your dad's brother.
Jobu, yeah. So I have royal blood, and I challenge you for the throne.
To which you could easily just say, fuck you.
Yeah, well, he has a legal right, so T'Challa felt duty-bound to say yes.
Okay, see, any nation where you can take over by right of combat is not really a nation.
No, just imagine him, like, launching the political campaign for next year. In 4 years, I will totally take your throne.
Yes.
He starts, like, set us a political action committee, you know.
Yes. And then it's like... Okay, so, yeah, T'Challa's been a good king and all that. Who was the one who killed Claw?
Osama bin Claw, yeah.
Oh, that's right. It was me. That was me. Son of the exiled prince. So I got the bad boy cred.
Right. Anyway.
Make Wakanda great again.
Oh, gosh. That's complicated.
Not really.
So they go for the ritual combat.
This stupid. Do you think anyone else at, like, the other end of this river gets really annoyed whenever they do this? Because, like, they have to drain the river, and it's like, okay. I guess we're not getting water today. Goddamn crazy royals with their stupid fucking combats.
Yeah.
You think they get sick and tired of all the corpses that just wash downstream?
But they don't do this every day, you know. It's like,
well,
once every
I know.
20
It's just
years
like... Yeah, they've done this twice in a week, so they've got to be getting sick of this. Yeah. Look, my king, it's not that I'm against your traditions. Just maybe a way that wouldn't disrupt the irrigation of my fields.
Okay, so they fight, and Eric throws T'Challa off the waterfall. And I'm like, he's alive. Come on, you did not kill off Black Panther in his first and only film. Well, not, you know, first title film.
Oh, I mean, like... I mean, like, you could have it be, like, a legacy position and have the Captain of the Guard lady become...
Well, that would be kind of cool. That'd be very bold. It'd be very, very bold if they did that.
Oh, yeah, you know.
So, I knew he was alive. So, all right, it's time for him to come back at some point here. And Eric takes over, and everyone kind of hates him, but the law says so. And not everyone hates him, actually, because he's got...
I mean, he's not like...
W'Kabi on his side. And W'Kabi's got, like, the military. So it was fairly plausible that he could make this work, at least for the time being.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, okay, the War Dogs would start... his plan is to send Wakandan weapons and supplies to all the War Dogs all over the world and start black rebellions in various nations. Here's my criticism, though. Like, if you're starting rebellions, how many weapons do the War Dogs have? Because, like, I can't imagine they have vast armories. So I'm thinking that the National Guards will be able to take these things down.
And they were sending, like, 3 ships worth of material. Remember this? Maybe, like, 4 or 5 ships?
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure... Okay, so we have like 150 War Dogs out there. Good, there's just 7 billion other people. And there's probably
crap.
like black people who aren't okay with this.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then they'll have all the nations will know. Oh, you're Wakandan. Then Wakanda does not have. Wakanda still has vibranium. By the way, thanks for the free vibranium and weapons.
Yeah, that could happen.
And also, how big is Wakanda? How big is Wakanda's standing army?
I don't know. We never see more than 100 people on the field at a time.
Because, like, the United States has an army of a couple million. China's is much larger. I mean, granted, I don't think there's a large black population in China for there to be an uprising. I could be wrong, but...
Well, that's just it, then. The native, non-black people would fight back in greater numbers.
Yeah.
There you go. So
Yeah,
it wouldn't work so well in China.
So, like, okay, we're moving our troops into the United States. Oh, hi, here's our 3 million people and nuclear warheads.
Yeah!
Also, I'm pretty sure the Avengers would take offense to this.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, yes, they did just get done with Civil War, but Tony still has his armor.
Just the nukes by themselves are enough to make people... Okay, I'll grant you they're trying to foment rebellion within nations rather than attack from outside, which kind of makes the nuke option really messy. But still, like regular National Guard folks, you think could shoot...
Yeah, and they still have a standing army. I mean, it's not like...
Yeah.
I mean, okay,
we could go door to door and find the bad guy rebellion people and arrest them like you do with normal rebellions.
Yeah. I mean, this plan, it sounds scary, and it would probably cost a lot of lives. But at the same time, I don't think it would work.
You know what? I would love if it had been portrayed that way. If this guy is just so hell-bent on revenge that he says, attack now, like, without plans and shit, and he's going to get some of his own people killed.
Which could be implied
but he's just, like, that much fueled by revenge or something, you know? And you just do it now.
Okay, there could be a character interpretation of Killmonger, Eric's, that could work that way. I mean... He's supposed to have one scar for each person he's killed, and he's got tons of scars all over his body.
But he
like set fire to the heart-shaped plant field because he does that, by the way.
Yeah, he doesn't want usurpers usurping him.
Yeah, but like he's basically dooming it so that there's no more Black Panthers or anything else. So
yeah, so they are going in that direction, but. The thing is, he's always played with this great sense of confidence. You know, when he says, "What do you want in the throne?" He's like, "I want the throne." You know, he's like totally chill. He's mastered all his emotions or whatever. He's pretty much got his control, and that contradicts this alternative, somewhat madman theory. You know,
well, madmen can absolutely be, totally in control.
Yeah, well,
in fact, sociopaths are frequently known for...
fine. I'm not madman per se, but just so enraged that he doesn't think things through theory.
Okay, and that really doesn't fit in with what we see.
Yeah, because he's like he thinks things through very thoroughly and it stays calm and stuff. But then he has this plan that doesn't actually work really when you think about it.
I mean, it might work for a little bit, and then it would inevitably collapse when, I don't care how much advanced weapons you have, I'm willing to bet that not every war dog or person you're trying to give weapons to is as well trained as the captain of the guard.
Yeah, and also, not all of them might accept his authority.
And also, I'm pretty sure they could still spam rockets at you until you die.
Yeah, they made it very much sound like Wakanda will literally just conquer the entire planet here. And
which, no.
It's very vague
how
how
they
they would do
because,
that.
I mean, they still have the Black Witch. I mean, the Scarlet Witch. No.
Yeah.
The Scarlet Witch and Tony Stark and Vision, who is made out of vibranium, can fly and has laser beams coming out of his face.
Yeah. No, this is totally random, but there was a bit in there where... they were talking about they have these when you first take the heart-shaped herb, you have a vision of your ancestors, which was Eric's most interesting scene actually, talking to his
that was
like
so
the spirit
cool.
of his dad. But at some point, I wish I could remember exactly when or which vision they were talking about. Somebody makes a reference to like, you know, the visions can be no, it was in singular form because it only would work this way. Like the vision can be quite terrifying or something. And I, for a moment, thought they were talking about Vision from the Avengers. Like, wait, you're terrified of him? Wait, is he in this movie? Wait, are you...
That sounds cool. Can we do that? I mean, he's not black. but he's what is he?
Red?
I mean, he's an android. He's a android.
He's a robot. Just go with robot. That's his race.
No. He's an android because he's male-shaped robot. I mean,
Okay,
he's
still
red,
a
but
robot.
he's not red like the racial pejorative.
That's why I say his race is robot, because that's the closest I can give you.
I mean, he's vibranium, so doesn't it make him an honorary Wakandan? That'd be cool. Him and Scarlet Witch go on their honeymoon to Wakanda. Oh, it's cool. It's cool, guys. I know she's pale. She's with me.
Wow. Okay.
I would watch that film.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. Anyway, so
Scarlet
no, the
Witch
actual
and Vision do Wakanda.
Scarlet Witch. When you, I don't know. I'm thinking that in comic now. When you take the right heart-shaped herb, you will see a Vision, and he literally just like Vision shows up and stares at him. It's like, I was not expecting this. Yeah,
hi,
this
Mr.
is new.
Hi, T'Challa. Hi, T'Challa. How you doing? Okay. No. Okay. Before they burn it, girlfriend spy lady goes.
Nakia, yeah.
Nokia goes and steals it with her phone or something.
No,
Nokia phone.
It was a little too convenient. Like, she happens to be right there. Rest of the thing's about to burn, and she like, okay, secrets it away. I'm like, okay, so this is fine now. This is all. Yeah, it's gonna be fine. This is the sort of thing, honestly. I wish they had planned out to end the entire MCU and like had plotted everything around this, like as of Avengers 3 or Avengers 4 or something. Because then you could have interesting plot lines like, no, literally, they burned all the plants and T'Challa is like gonna be the last Black Panther ever. And he's like...
Yeah, but they pulled this shit before in the first Thor movie, and he showed up again in Avengers.
Yeah,
saying like,
yeah.
oh yeah, we just fixed it in between movies.
So,
off-screen.
What I'm saying is, if you planned out all the movies' plot lines in advance, you wouldn't have so many off-screen weirdnesses and stuff. Anyway.
Yeah, plus, I'm totally sure that these people who have been tending the plants for generations don't have the miraculous technology known as seeds.
Yeah, wait, fire doesn't normally destroy seeds. I mean, not all of them.
Well, I mean,
maybe this particular plant is vulnerable, but...
Yeah, but considering it has metal inside of it, I don't know.
Yeah, that's weird.
I mean, we're assuming no one has, like, a seed packet they stored away somewhere.
Is the plant bulletproof, I wonder? It's just like, you start shooting it, and the bullets bounce back at you. You're like, God, vibranium plants!
I mean, like, or cloning, because we can do that now.
Yeah.
And, or a bunch of other shit, you know?
Freaking, like,
We have magic! We can have Stephen Strange pop up, use his time reversal, and make the Grove come back!
Frick, he can make anybody come back with that. That's actually very strange.
Okay. Okay, so, and then he gets the new Black Panther costume, which is gold and
oh, yeah,
black.
The bad guy gets... They were introducing that earlier when Shuri is doing the whole Q routine. She's like, these are your latest gadgets, Bond. I mean T'Challa. And we have... for some reason, 2 copies of your suit here. I'm like, there's gonna be some other guy wearing the other suit at some point. I can see this coming.
And why would you make 2 copies? Why not just have one that's painted gunmetal gray and then paint it whatever color you want it to be?
I mean, you gotta have a backup.
Okay, that's actually a good point.
Yeah.
You know, I'd say that's stupid, but no, that's actually a really good point.
So, yeah... And, Nakia apparently also takes the regular Black Panther suit with her also in its nano necklace form.
Yeah, and she also takes Agent Ross out because for some reason, leaving the only white guy in the entire country run by the guy who hates white guys, that seems like a bad move.
Yeah.
Although, he doesn't really do much up until the very end scene of the movie, so I don't know.
I don't know.
Why do you have to bring him to Wakanda? There was no real reason to bring him to Wakanda.
There was no... Yeah.
You could have skipped his entire subplot.
Yeah.
And then just had him heal at the end of the movie by showing off, hey, this is what Wakandan technology can do.
Yeah. Could have done... He doesn't have to be in the movie at all, honestly. I think they just wanted to, like, connect it with other Marvel movies. You know, when they weren't going to have any of the Avengers show up. Like, we'll have the CIA guy show up. Anyway.
Okay, well, I mean... Yeah, whatever. It does bug me when movies supposedly happening in a shared universe don't have any connections to the other ones. So it is a little good that they did this, but it could have been done better.
Yeah. Claw's a connection anyway.
Well, yeah, anyway.
So Shuri and her mom flee because...
And Nokia. Nokio. No,
Yeah, Nakia.
Nakia. God damn it! I wasn't even trying to be funny that time.
Okay.
I literally forgot her
Shuri
name.
and her mom and Nakia all flee the capital city because Eric hates them, I guess. That's actually super vague, though, because if Eric is the type to throw the family in prison, why hasn't he done that already?
I prefer to think he's doing his victory dance.
Yeah, I guess.
Because that is entirely in character for Eric.
Yeah, okay.
I'm Black Panther. I'm Black Panther. Dun, 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 dun. Hey! Dun, 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 dun. Hey!
So, in their attempts to escape...
Oh, also, Eric kills,
yeah, he kills that guy from Rogue One.
the
Forrest Whitaker.
Zuni or Zori.
I don't know.
Zuri.
Zuri, yeah.
Zuri, who was the spy from earlier, who was friends with his dad.
That was
but
kind of a
betrayed
neat
him.
moment.
I mean...
But I guess we could have known that guy better.
Yeah, well, we could have. Anyways, so they go to the Jabari, not Zuri, because he's dead, but...
the Shuri and
the
Nakia
Black Panther
and Mom.
the Black Panther B cast goes to the Jabari
Why did they go to the Jabari?
because Gondor calls for aid.
Yeah, but like,
why not go to the Avengers?
why not go just across the border in the nearest border crossing direction? Get the hell out of the country ruled by the guy that hates you.
Why not just steal that spaceship, fly to Washington D.C. and say, "Can I speak to Iron Man, please?" Or the State Department. They might want to know, hey, some asshole is going to start fomenting rebellion in your borders.
Yeah. I don't know. They go to the Jabari because those are the people we introduced earlier.
Yeah, we can't introduce, like, other people or anyone else. Whatever.
And they ask the Jabari for help, and the Jabari are like, oh, by the way, we have T'Challa here with us.
Yeah, we just happen
to have him. He's downriver from that one waterfall, and he's in a coma, but he has no physical wounds for some reason.
Yeah,
and he's in ice?
He's in snow.
Snow,
but,
ice?
like, as long as he's in the snow, this magical fucking snow, he's fine. But if you take him out of there, he'll die.
Like, I don't think snow
I don't
cures
think
comas.
medicine works that way. And even if we were going for the, it's cryogenically frozen him, that's not how that works either.
You need better freezing than just some snow.
You could say,
you.
it's because he's eating the heart-shaped herb. Yeah, except that that's been turned off, remember?
Yeah, that was really weak the more you think of it. So he happens to be, and you kind of missed out on the possible scene of T'Challa clawing his way back from the waters onto the shoreline and being all determined and no, here he is, he's asleep.
Some guy found him.
Some guy found him off screen.
Because of course he did.
And we're not even gonna do something cool where, like, I don't know, his ancestors intervened on his behalf and something.
So they feed him the heart-shaped fruit.
Because they have that, thank goodness.
Yeah, and then they...
and then he has a talk with his dad again.
And they bury him because it's like the ceremony where they make him king again, except it's not. And
yeah,
that was why they put him in fucking snow, so they didn't have to have a different material.
I guess.
God fucking damn it.
So, he talks to his dad and actually yells at him, and I like that. I
liked how the music just stopped when he yelled, "You're wrong!"
Yeah.
And it didn't start up again until he started with the reason you suck speech.
Yeah. I wish some more of this got more development. They hinted at a lot of interesting themes here. And,
you know what I was interested in? They were talking about at the beginning how the Jaguar God led the shaman to the heart-shaped fruit. I thought we were going to see the Jaguar God, and we were going to get evidence that, yes, the supernatural, not just demons like Dormammu, but gods exist and are provable in the MCU.
Yeah.
I mean, that would have been cool.
That would have been cool.
I mean, you would have thrown a bit of a wrench in, but whatever. But
yeah. Well, you could imagine that God dispensing some interesting wisdom, or he dispensing wisdom back to it, or something. By the way, it's not super important, but T'Challa's dad in the afterlife has this lazy eye.
He has it before then.
I know, but I kept thinking, like, you're in heaven. Hasn't that been fixed yet?
Yeah, I mean, isn't that a thing,
Anyway.
Because, like, wouldn't it suck if you were king and you were a quadriplegic and you die and you're like, God fucking damn it, Panther God, I was, like, really awesome in my life. Why in the shit am I still like this? Like the Panthers just start licking his face. I'm like, oh, fuck all of you. Fuck all of you.
Anyway, so
Seems like a shit deal for the afterlife.
Black Panther yells at them for being so isolationist and for leaving the kid behind because that caused all their present problems. Which would have hit
I'd say
more.
no, but yeah, that
it is
accurate.
true. It's true. It would have, been more impactful if them leaving the kid behind had made sense in the first place and was more of a philosophical problem than just that was dumb.
Yeah, you were a fucking idiot. He was royal blood. Even if his dad was a traitor, his kid was innocent of that shit. His kid didn't break any laws.
Yeah.
Bring him back and just have it be like, oh, the dad died and the kid ran away. I hate to say it, but one of the things I do know about the African American experience, there's runaways and murders.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really like to point that out, because we like to keep this a happy show when we're not screaming and frothing with rage at how stupid characters are.
Yeah.
But that is a thing that happens.
Yeah, I mean, it obviously happens to other races too, but it's particularly, there's been a higher crime rate in historically black communities for complex sociopolitical reasons.
We're not getting into that.
So anyway, yeah, thematically that sort of worked. The only way this honestly works is if we play around with T'Chaka's characterization and make him less of the well-intentioned king who is too isolationist for some reason, and more of the guy who just wanted to frick over his brother and his kid and everything because he just hated that guy. If he was full of spite, I could maybe see this.
Okay, I think I know the reason why they didn't have him bring him back, though. They didn't want to have another Thor-Loki relationship. They already have one of those.
Well, yeah, but that's why the writers didn't want to bring him back. I got to make it work inside the world,
yes,
too.
But
yeah, so a lot of things didn't quite. I'm glad he got to yell at his dad. It brought the themes into the movie more.
So the Wakandans Eric sets up his incredibly ill-advised and really terrible plan, and I don't mean terrible as in like, oh, this is going to cause so many deaths.
Not a scary plan, just a ill-thought-out plan.
Yeah, where he ships out weapons to like 20 guys and hopes that will result in the fall of Western civilization.
Also, apparently none of those guys has weapons already. You would think that some of them would have something, and you could tell them on the radio and be like, start attacking now, please. But no. Instead it's, wait a minute, and in a few hours we'll send you a crate full of stuff. But we had to set it up that way, because otherwise, like, oh, T'Challa, you saved everything except, oh, wait, like 100 people got murdered on various continents. But you saved most of the people.
Yeah, it's not really... Jesus. Anyways, Eric pulls on the necklace. T'Challa comes out and says, Eric, I'm not dead. The trial by combat isn't over. Fight me. So he orders everyone to attack him anyways. It's like, oh, I guess we don't respect the ancient laws now.
Well, half of them, disregarded that order and turned against him, including...
It wasn't half, it was 6. The Royal Guards.
I kind of assumed they had a larger squad working under them. Was it really just 6 of them?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, that sucks. Everyone disregards the law all of a sudden. And they went and fought, and they fought.
And they fight, and it's just...
Ross does this thing where he remote pilots a jet, spaceship, UFO to shoot the other jets, UFO things.
And, here's the thing. There's 3 Wakandan fighters that are escorting the payloads.
Yeah.
And then, there's only 2 of them. One of them figured out, oh, wait a minute, let's go kill the guy who's piloting this thing remotely.
Yeah.
Although, this does bring up the question, how the fuck did he know that it was being piloted remotely?
Radio intelligence? Heard the signals going through the air?
Yeah, but if that's the case, why didn't they go, okay, send down 30 guys into the lab and kick the shit out of him?
How did he even get into the lab? I'm a little vague on this myself. I mean, I know that Shuri has the keys, but Eric owns the building at this point.
Yeah.
You think he would have a guard in the front somewhere?
How did they get Ross in?
That's what I just said.
No. How did they get Ross into the country?
With the UFO, what do you mean?
I mean,
he was bulleted in the back, and they just
No.
flew him
How
in.
did they get him in without anyone seeing and raising a stink that they brought a white guy in?
UFO is opaque.
I mean, like, there was no one in the hallway.
There was no one in the hallway. No.
Unless you're telling me Wakandans have
Actually,
teleporters now.
Well, no, they had him on a slab and they had like a sheet over his face until Shuri pulls it over.
That's better. Okay. Never mind. So, anyways, they go back down to the mines. Somehow they get knocked into the mines, which admittedly impressive, punching each other in midair.
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
And in the mines, there's these sonic things that deactivate vibranium.
Because you can do that now.
Yeah, and
oh man, do that with Captain America. Just turn on the sonic thing and then just hit him.
Yeah. And that deactivates the super suits.
Which, honestly, I think that whole plot point was just there so that we could see the characters' faces for a while they argue that.
Keep the fucking helmets on. Superhero movies. One movie I'd like to see where they don't take off the mask at every opportunity.
I mean, yeah.
One.
Yeah.
Okay. But anyways, and they fight and they fight and they fight and they fight and they exchange barbs like you're destroying Wakanda, you're not being loyal to the...
You know, the world took everything from me, now I will take everything back from the world. That one line came out kind of lame.
Yeah, I mean...
It's meant to be this big outburst, but it wasn't quite outbursty enough.
I judge it on the fact that he's probably suffered several blows to the head at that point.
Yes.
Good job, Brain, you're doing okay.
And then T'Challa finally delivers a lethal blow, and they have an interesting moment, which is again like, oh, I wish you could have built this better and more and stuff, because Eric's dad had always told him that the sunsets in Wakanda were the most beautiful.
See, okay, I thought that was weak. Although that was me thinking it was weak is also a reflection of the fact that I don't really give a shit about sunsets. Oh. Everyone goes on about how beautiful they are, and I'm like, okay, I've seen a sunset. Can we move along now? I have actual shit to do. So I'll be going like, oh, wow, look at the sunset and all the colors. I'm like, yep, I've seen what happens when the planet rotates to the point where you can't see the sun anymore. This is a thing that's happened. Can we go? I don't get invited to many parties anymore.
not the sunset viewing parties.
Yeah, you know, I mean, if I'm going to be sitting around staring at a bright light, I'm going to be reading something on a computer.
Yes.
Or playing a video game.
Point is, it was important to Eric, and as an act of mercy, while Eric's got this fatal wound, which is one of those wounds where, like, everyone knows it's fatal, and yet it's not so fatal that he can't hang around for a while and talk and all. You know that the movies have that thing.
Okay, this one had a justification. It wasn't like he got stabbed and then, you know, nothing. He still had the weapon inside of him that was keeping him from bleeding out.
Well, yeah, but I don't know.
I thought that was at least something.
It is, but generally, when you get stabbed with something, you do bleed out. That's what stabbing does. Well, even when the weapon's still in, like, it may bleed out more, yes, but even so, blood comes out when you get stabbed. It's a thing.
Yeah, I get that.
Okay, he's got the herb in his system, so maybe that helps.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Yeah, it's a vibranium herb that gives him vibranium blood clotting.
Magic.
Point is, T'Challa brings him up to see the sunset one last time, and then he mentions, you know, it's possible we can still heal you. And Eric says, no, I refuse. Have my body thrown into the sea like my ancestors of the past who jumped ship rather than live out their lives as slaves.
Which is kind of poignant until you think about it. Like, I mean, first off, yes, okay, but second, probably maybe only half of your... I mean, we don't know anything about your mom. She could have emigrated legally and not in a slavey type sense.
Wait, he's talking about distant ancestors, like...
Well, yeah,
there were a lot of black slaves back in the day.
There's two ancestors that we know he has. Najobu, who came from Wakanda and was not a slave, and his mom. So I'm saying, well, we don't really know anything about his mom.
I would have liked to know about his mom, actually.
What if his mom, like...
I would like
his ancestors... Her ancestors came over legally, like... They're like, yes, I am an investor from Kenya.
Honestly, there were not a lot of investors from Kenya in the 1800s.
Well, we don't know when her ancestors came over.
Okay, well, based on this guy's motivations,
I-
based on his philosophy, I would not be surprised if that was his mother's lineage.
Okay, yes. Fair point.
Okay.
But since we don't know that, whatever.
Yeah.
And second, just the logistics of it. Like, okay, we got to drag this corpse all the way to the ocean. We're like in the center of the continent, so...
They have UFOs. They can manage it.
This thing's going to start smelling gamey after a while. Also, like, you're going to have to dump it in international waters.
Yes.
How does that go? Are we going to cremate him?
I'm sure it's not the first guy to be cremated and cast over on sea. Like, it happens.
Do they weight down the body so it doesn't float?
Oh, gosh. I don't know.
Put
him in a coffin. Put him in a coffin that would actually sink. There, done.
Okay.
Point is, I like the poignancy of that. Somewhat undercut with the whole, when he says maybe we can heal you, and to give him this choice, and he ends up choosing to die, and is an interesting villain for all that. It really raises the question. Wait a minute. If you think maybe you can heal him, could you have mentioned that before we got on the elevator that goes to the sunset? Like, you know, he could be like, wait, heal me? Yes, fuck, why don't you get me to that now? Like, if that way, he could have chosen that, in which case, maybe now it's too late, because you had to bother doing this detour.
This is why you were the worst king. Nobody likes you, T'Challa. Why do you think the military rebelled against you? I didn't even tell them to do that. They just saw you and went for you.
So...
Also, we're supposed to think that he's the good king, but, like, do we know what his economic policy is like?
No, we don't.
He canceled my pension! Get him!
No. I just feel there's a lot.
This is my second job!
There's a lot of room there to develop these themes more. I would have loved if T'Challa himself had more room for character growth. If it was, instead of just making up for the sins of his ancestors, if he himself had done wrong and had to make up for it. It's touched on at the end after Eric's death that, like, okay, now we're going to open up more and do these outreach centers and stuff and make the world a better place and whatever. And then mid-credits, he's like at the UN, he's going to announce that Wakanda's got fancy technology and stuff. But I would love to see, you know, when you have issues, you can't just sort of mention the issues. You have to really bake them into the plot if you want it to work out. And if T'Challa, at the climax, we're dealing with some important decision to make, where maybe he's tempted to take an isolationist route, but no, he does the right thing at the right moment and helps out some people that need his help, you know, and bucks the advice of his father and whatever at this critical moment, then it would be baked in. Instead, the storyline here is T'Challa was king, an usurper came and took the throne, and T'Challa had to fight double hard to get rid of him. And T'Challa would still do that even if none of these other issues existed. You see, it's not like baked in. It's the core of it is, fight this guy, I want my throne back. And incidentally, oh yeah, we need to be less isolationist.
You know what, it could have helped? Like, when he first arrives at the palace, like, there's protesters there who are saying that Wakanda needs to end its isolationist thing.
Yeah, at least Nakia brought it up.
You know, have some of them be cosplayers of, like, the Avengers.
Wow. Cosplaying the Avengers, that's interesting.
Well, I mean...
We did have that in Homecoming, actually. Not really cosplay, but villains were dressed up that way. It's kind of...
What's Homecoming?
Spider-Man Homecoming.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But, like... You know, show their support for, like, getting out and doing shit. You know, have Black Panther participated in the Civil War. You know, have him do things.
You know what?
No, I don't know what.
If you're going to do Gondor Calls for Aid, because, by the way, the Jabari... early on, when they're talking to the Jabari, he's like, hey, can you protect my mother? And he's like, yeah, sure, we'll keep her here and protect her. And he's like, hey, can you also raise an army to help me take back the throne? And he's like, no. And he's like, but come on, this is important because Eric will, like, destroy everything. And the guy's like, no. And I'm like, you're going to say yes later on. Come on. He has no motivation. It's not like he'd been offered a deal to work with Eric. And he had some temptation there. Like, clearly Eric's going to conquer you, so might as well stop him. Anyway, if you're going to do a Gondor Calls for Aid thing, it ought to be that Black Panther, near the end, helps out some group of people that they previously neglected, right? and those people rise up to help him in return.
Which would logically be the Jabari, considering that there's no one else in Wakanda.
In which case, we would change up the nature of the Jabari. Instead of being this isolationist tribe that just hates us, it could be the tribe that we hate them and have made them live in the mountains because of their sins from 1,000 years ago.
And it would produce a nice parallel to the African American struggles thing that the rest of the film had going on.
Yeah.
We discriminate against
we
these
discriminate
bastards.
against this group, and then T'Challa shows up and offers them friendship and makes some, not just words, but a specific sign that shows how important this is to him and proves it.
What if the girlfriend was Jabbar? Nakia. I seriously was trying that time. I'm not trying to do the Nokia joke.
Okay.
I just can't remember fucking names. What if Nakia was Jabari? And she's had to face this sort of shit her whole life. And like his mom was like, "Oh, you shouldn't go with Nakia. You know her past."
Right.
And then it would
kind
show
of a
these
Romeo Juliet thing. But
implicit support that would show that under his rule, things might get better for the Jabari. It would establish that there is a history, so it's not just, I say one nice thing and all the Jabari fall over themselves.
Yeah. And also, he could go through a line of development where he's, dating this Jabari girl, or let's make him actually dating her in this case, but like in secret.
And then that would give the other tribes a reason to support Eric over the rest of them.
Right, because the tribes
T'Challa.
are kind of more isolationist, and they want to keep their prejudices intact instead of challenging them.
Plus, I was actually going to say,
Okay.
yes, he's an outsider, but he is still of royal blood, and he is of a royal blood that hasn't said, let's dishonor the purity of our tribe by interbreeding with these outsiders that we hate.
Yeah. And there could be a line there with T'Challa, he's dating Nakia, and maybe his initial plan is to treat her as the exception to the rest of the Jabari. Okay, well, I'll make life better for you, maybe in secret, or maybe even there's like, as king, he can just declare her pardoned or something, and hopefully everyone goes along with it. And then Nakia calls him on it, like, no, this isn't just about me. My entire tribe is being discriminated against. You can't just help one person. You're the king. You got to help the whole nation. And there's this whole tribe over here being discriminated against. And that could be his character growth. It's not just... So he's already one step along the path by dating Nakia. But over the course of the movie, he takes all the other steps to get the entire tribe. And that tribe is convinced enough of his sincerity that they rise up and help him in the climax.
Yes, and it could produce a nice parallel with Eric then, like I said, with the black struggles of black people in the modern world.
Yeah.
It would, like Eric would say, "Oh, you think you're so special? You hold your group, like you're acting exactly like the white conquerors that enslaved my ancestors."
Right.
Okay, I'm hammering that a little bit.
Yeah, a little.
But like, he could Eric. While looking for clues on Eric, he goes to N'Jobu's grave, and he has like these weird symbols carved on it at Eric's insistence. And he realizes, oh, these are Wakandan symbols, and that leads him deeper into trying to investigate N'Jobu's life, which gives him a deeper perspective on African American culture in America, and the way this is reflected between the Wakandans and the Jabari, showing that this shit is happening. It's gonna keep causing problems, like this fucking Killmonger guy, a guy whose name is literally Killmonger.
Yeah. And
it's like Deadpool in how stupid it is. I mean, Deadpool is good. He made it good.
Yeah.
Killmonger is just, you're trying too hard.
Yeah, a little too hard. Okay, and then, how about we drop the... Well, you could still bring it up as a more distant goal, but drop the world-threatening theme from the climax.
Yeah,
Make it personal to T'Challa and, like, Wakanda, in their capital city or whatever. Eric is, I don't know, forcibly trying to take over or have all of... T'Challa's distant family members killed or something, because that could be impactful enough. He doesn't have to and now we'll conquer the whole world, right?
Well, considering he's a family member of T'Challa's, that's probably not a great idea. Like, we will kill all the members of the T'Challa's family! All his guards pointing straight at them. Let me rephrase that.
All right, but he could, kill all the impure ones or whatever, however he defines it. That could be interesting. I think he wants to kill the Jabari, too. Establish the purity of things or whatever.
Oh, yeah, I mean, he could be like one of those racists who doesn't really believe in the cause, but believes it's useful for manipulating people. That would help establish him more as a sociopath.
Okay, so we could go the
like,
sociopath.
He could still believe in the cause of black supremacy and stopping the exploitation of the African races, but he's still a fucking sociopath who's willing to use people and their belief systems to get what he wants.
You know what I'd like to see? Since he had
Megas XLR Season 3.
That would be cool. But which, by the way, is spelled Megas space XLR.
Yeah, they didn't plan that
Every time somebody says that, I have this small moment where like, wait, what did you just say?
Yeah, well, the original title of the show was Lowbrow, so...
That's dumb. Okay. I was gonna say, so since Eric comes from this terrible childhood and it's mutated into this great rage and so forth, and he becomes a villain, I would love to see someone who also had a terrible childhood but kept their ideals, and they could like call him out on it, and that might be Nakia, actually. If she grew up among the Jabari and everything sucked all the time, wouldn't it be great if she gave Eric a speech at some point, like, I agree with a whole lot of shit is terrible, and we both suffered like shit in different continents, but still, like, we've had to deal with terrible things, but you do not get to take this out on innocent people, and your methods suck, and then she punches him in the face or something, you know what I mean?
If she was still like the best spy in the entire Wakanda, and she still had this discriminatory background, that would actually explain even more why she's a badass. Because she had racial discrimination against her, she joined like the armed forces to escape her shitty life. But since they discriminate against you, you have to work like 3 times as hard for half the progress.
She could be on a mission or something, and other members of her team like conspicuously don't back her up as much as they should. Like, they're concerned for each other's safety, not so much for hers. She gets the most dangerous parts of things.
It would have to be like, that would be early in her career, because I think by the time you get to the ultra level special forces, you kind of all trust each other.
Well, yeah, you should. If however much of a deal you want. No, that could be it. She was on in teams, and now she does solo work, like a Splinter Cell thing, because other teammates didn't trust her enough. It didn't work out in a team-based thing.
They never trusted me. For absolutely no reason. We told you why we don't trust you. You kept stealing our lunches from the fridge.
Right.
Just because it wasn't labeled, you took my pudding cup, you try that again, I will cut you, bitch.
Someone on the council.
Okay, look, anything that's spinning off of me yelling, you stole my pudding cup, I will cut you, bitch. Really that's a bad start for any sentence. That
was me more just like skipping over what you just said to do something else. Someone on the council could accuse Nakia of being in the employ of the Jabari, because she's like ethnically Jabari, and she's working on these solo spy missions and stuff. And maybe she's not really working for the king at all. She's trying to usurp the king, and so forth. And she'd have to prove her loyalty, but not blind loyalty, because she's still pissed off at the king, and then he dies, and now T'Challa is suddenly in the hot seat to like actually change shit and prove to his girlfriend that he understands where she comes from.
Exactly. There could be parallels to this stuff in one of the reasons why Archduke Franz Ferdinand was assassinated in Austria-Hungary wasn't because it was a crazy person just shooting randomly into this high-ranking person. It was because there was, in Austria-Hungary and Serbia, there was about 11 different social groups, most of whom had been exploited by the others. The thing was, the emperor, who was previously described as, the last of the Habsburgs, who was like really hardcore on this racist shit, he was dying soon, and they wanted to strike a blow against the empire. Here's the thing, though. Archduke Franz Ferdinand, he was really in favor of reforming stuff so that they wouldn't be racist anymore.
Oh, really?
So when they took him down, that kind of not only fucked over Austria-Hungary and Serbia, but it kicked off World War I.
Wow.
So if you had not done that, things would have actually probably gotten better.
Yeah, no, I like that.
So like have
interesting-
extremists who think that's maybe Eric's working a bit with the Jabari. Like
Yeah,
some extremist
I was wondering
Jabari.
if we should make him Jabari at some point there, or he could just be
No,
working
he's
with
not
them.
Jabari.
He's not Jabari. He's working with them.
Remember,
Okay.
we're going with the sociopath angle.
Yeah,
who just
okay, we could do
manipulates
that.
people.
Yeah. Just wants power for himself and all that. I get that.
He wants power for himself to accomplish his goals of like black supremacy or whatever.
Sure.
It's just that's
Okay. Damn, what was I gonna say next? Freaking. I like that we made Naki into a much more interesting character here. She's kind of just vaguely the love interest in the movie. But now we're like,
even
she's got an
spy,
arc.
She doesn't really do much.
Yeah.
Heck, Ross could have accomplished all of her accomplishments in the entire film.
Yeah. But now she's like figuring out her relationship with T'Challa, and also relationship with the nation, also relationship with her tribe, and also relationship with Eric. Or not, they're in a relationship, but like, is he? Is this the best way to help the Jabari? And then no, it's not, and she takes him down a peg. I would like to see there be some old advisor guy who was like the king's right-hand man, the former king's, and T'Challa's kind of a little intimidated by him, like, oh, maybe this guy knows what to do, I'll just kind of do what he proposes for the nation.
Have him be the Zeril guy or whatever.
Zuri, yeah.
Zuri.
So and then
Again,
and then
I
T'Challa's...
am not trying to make fun of these names. I legitimately can't remember names of characters on a good day.
Yeah.
Watch the other reviews. You'll see what I mean.
Yeah.
And that's with characters with European names.
Yes.
Not things with 8 consonants and apostrophes.
Yeah. So T'Challa could have an arc in that guy, in his relationship with that guy, where initially he's... I like to see him. I like to see him grow as a king. We know he's already a superhero because of the stuff he pulled in Civil War, and he keeps doing that in this movie, in our version.
Wait, Winter Soldier, right?
Oh, in Winter Soldier. Sorry.
Wait, no. It was Civil War.
Yes.
It was Civil War.
No. Okay.
Yeah, the black guy from that one was like the guy in the hawk suit.
There were 2 black guys in. Oh, the one they introduced in that movie. Yeah, in Winter Soldier they introduced Falcon.
Yes, I mean, you know what I'm trying to say here.
Point is, we've seen him be a superhero stuff before, and he'll keep doing that in our version of the movie. But as far as governing the nation, like we're talking about what is it like to be a king and so forth, imagine he's kind of outsourced it to this vizier, essentially.
Please don't let him be evil. Just
no, not evil.
Just once, I'd like to see like a vizier who's just like everyone suspects is evil. He looks freaking evil, and he's like, "Yes, now I should reform the tax plan."
All right. But the point is,
this puts less strain on low-income families.
Maybe I shouldn't call him a vizier, because I was gonna have him. He's just for holding up the traditions and doing things exactly like your father did. And he's like, okay, let's do that. And then over the course of the movie, he learns, no, I have to actually be the king and grapple with these issues and make new decisions and change things and whatever.
Yes.
And yeah, maybe we'll even bring in the element too of like, no, this was really quite crazy for his dad to not break their isolation in the face of world-ending threats. And the dad was, just delusional about it, just like insisting nothing affects us. It's totally fine. Everything's fine.
Oh, there's a fan fiction out there. I don't know how many people have read the World War series. No, I'm not talking about World War I, World War II. There's a series by Harry Turtledove that's broken into 3 parts called World War, Colonization, and Homecoming. No, not Spider-Man Homecoming. That's something different.
The whole thing takes a left turn in the third book.
The thought process is that an alien race invades the Earth in the middle of World War II. This race is known as the Race. They call their home planet home. And yeah, they're not imaginative. No, I'm serious. They believe that everything has to take place in very small, very measured steps. Literally, they have delayed conquests and invasions by 100 years in order to implement a very small upgrade into their technology. And when they last saw humanity, their probe sent back messages showing a knight in shining armor. So they thought, hey, this is the tech level they're going to be at. We're going to steamroll these bastards, no problem. And then they start receiving radio transmissions. They're like, oh. I mean, there's a lot of fun stuff that takes place in it. Like, for example, they have sensors that detect where enemies are, by detecting quantities of uric acid, aka acid that's in pee. Yeah. One of them starts screaming, 4 billion humans are coming straight for us! Because a human unknowingly pees on one.
That's so crazy.
Okay. Now, there's been fan fictions about that's explore, like, obviously there's the crossover ones, like, what would happen if they met Stargate Earth, and, like, so, like, one of the BC-304s jumps right in front of the alien invasion fleet and is like, no, go away. And they're like, okay. But there's at least one where it takes place in the modern day, and it doesn't involve, like, any crossover factions or, but the Earth they were invading was the Marvel Earth! So, like, Tony Stark blew up all their ships. No. It was just the modern Earth, and when the alien invasion is announced, Switzerland says, we will remain neutral in this conflict. So what happens is that everyone around them decides to invade them because their justification of, well, the mountains will protect us is really fucking stupid when you have spaceships.
Oh, no.
So all that would happen is the aliens would come down, land in Switzerland, say, okay, now we have a landing point in the middle of Europe, and just expand outward from there, where the mountains would protect them.
Wow. Okay.
So that's the kind of thing.
So who's Switzerland in our Black Panther movie? Because I forgot how this connects.
I forgot how this started.
Okay.
God damn it.
Well, the point is, if you're Switzerland and you're being invaded by aliens, join the fight.
Don't declare neutrality.
Yes. That is the motto of the day.
Yes.
No, but more importantly, hopefully, for those of you listening, you're seeing how you're making the plot more interesting and more thematically connected to itself.
We're not saying this is a bad movie.
No,
In and of itself,
yeah.
This is a really good movie. It's one of the better entries into the MCU.
Yeah, I would rank Civil War above this.
Oh, I'm not saying it's the best. I'm saying
it's above average.
Okay,
yeah.
For me, it's original Iron Man, the Avengers movie, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, I'll take both of those.
Oh yeah, those were good. I haven't seen the Ant-Man movie.
Yeah, neither have I.
And they
have the trailer for the sequel now.
Wasp.
Like, all right, maybe I'll see that without even seeing the original. I'm sure I don't need to see it.
Yeah, like the ones I haven't seen are the Spider-Man: Homecoming, Ant-Man, and the original Hulk film.
Yeah, I remember the original Hulk film. They've changed Hulk since then. I forgot.
Yeah, they had this other guy, and then they switched it to Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah. So yeah, good themes that we touched on here, but could have been developed more, baked into the plot.
Given a better excuse for why they weren't around.
Yeah. Given a better excuse for why they weren't around. I would definitely, and I know they introduced T'Chaka in Civil War, and for the 1 minute you see him, he seems like a nice guy. He smiles. He clearly loves his son and whatever. But that doesn't stop him from also having, like, serious problems in his governance and having, like, crazy ideas of how to run things.
Just because you're a good superhero... Look,
he wasn't even a superhero in that movie, T'Chaka. He was just...
well, he was a superhero before.
Previously, yeah.
Okay, just because you're a good superhero, just because you're, like, really good with people, does not make you a good leader.
Yeah, I would love to make that a theme.
This. Gurren Lagann showed this.
Yeah!
When they put all of the members of Team Daiguren in positions of government, and they do a terrible job.
Yeah, because they don't know what the frick they're doing.
Roshu nearly brings about the end of the world.
Yeah, he does.
And it's kind of ambiguous in the anime, so in the movie, they openly state, okay, so, it's ambiguous as to whether, 1 million humans are on the surface means actively on the surface or in existence total. So in the movie they said, don't go to the moon. So Rosyu sends a rocket to the moon.
Ah!
That brings down the anti-spirals.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting, though, because we talk about how, say, vibranium we were talking about before, right? And it's very vague what it does, and we're like, how does this even work? And it feels mushy. And yet Gurren Lagann has got physics-defying stuff all over the place, but it so narratively fits that you don't complain about how spiral power works.
Because spiral power, by definition, it works because fuck you.
It's not just the audacity of declaring that makes it feel right. It works with the characters that we know.
It works with the genre and the way the medium is presented.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, one of the big strengths of the Marvel Cinematic Universe is that this feels like, okay, this is science fiction-y technology crap, but it feels like this stuff could be invented theoretically. There were hard and fast rules. Okay, maybe not hard, but, you know.
They were mildly hard and somewhat quick rules.
Okay, but you saw how this stuff and this stuff and this stuff all fit together. For example, Tony's arc reactor couldn't also turn his car into a transformer.
Yeah, no.
And like he eventually upgraded it using the new metal or whatever it was called.
Yeah.
Fine. Arc reactors are just that, a reactor. So what is vibranium? Vibranium seems to do like 80 different things.
Yeah, I mean, it was simple enough when it's just Cap's shield, where it's invincible and does the magic no momentum thing. But now it also makes magic plants that give you superpowers. Because reasons.
I mean, there are certain types of plants that grow near gold deposits that do have gold in the leaves.
Yeah.
So it's not exactly unprecedented.
But just like ingesting vibranium is probably not good for your cells.
Yeah.
You know what? If they're gonna mention that Panther god, how about he's the one that just
or goddess? I think it's a goddess.
Oh well,
seems more fitting if it's a goddess.
The Panther deity could be the one that provided the herb, and no vibranium was involved. And vibranium is like incidentally, we also have that, but not connected directly to the herb.
What if the vibranium is actually the body of this god that fell to Earth long ago, and when they ingest it, they're talking to the Panther goddess or whatever? Because the Panther goddess has like.
If you have a god that fell to Earth, my first thought is it a celestial? But obviously, they're not panthers.
That we know of.
That we know of. That's getting crazy again.
I mean, like. Yeah.
All right. We're basically done with this?
Yeah, I think we're basically done.
All right. It only took 2 hours and 21 minutes.
Okay.
We're thorough.
We're white. Remember that. If we're racist, we're racist very unintentionally.
Boy. Okay. But, yeah. Interesting movie.
Yeah. I liked it. I advise going to see it.
Yeah.
Or picking it up when it comes out on movie.
Yeah, it'll be free on Netflix someday if you want to wait that long.
Well, you still have to pay for the Netflix subscription.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
Anyways, I'm Sith King.
And I'm Sonic Sons.
And we're signing off.